arrests made. We'll get to that story. Mr. Norcross has released an official statement after what transpired at Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday. Everything you need to know in Pennsylvania and New Jersey for the election, and a whole bunch more. But before we get to all of that, let's get to the news. Round number 1, 6:04, and for that, the great Dawn Stensland.
Yes, good morning. This is Tuesday, Election Day, November 7th. So polls opening early, staying open late, a beautiful 71-degree sunny day. No excuses, at least weather-wise, for anybody to not vote today on this Election Day. And a lot at stake here as we think about choosing the 100th mayor in Philadelphia. Sherelle Parker is suspected of being the winner since we're a 7-1 registration, but David O making his pitch to Philadelphia voters. So we have that going on, a big Supreme Court, state Supreme Court justice race. That's a big one, and many local races. I know we'll talk about all of this.
Is it too close? Too close to call, Dawn, for the mayoral race? Is it too early to call it official?
It's definitely too early to call.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Most so-called mainstream media says abortion is on the ballot. That's the headline for Dan McCaffrey v. the Republican Judge Carolyn Carluccio, who has been on WPHT a lot over the last couple of months. But she says no, that abortion is not. That's not the case. But that's the headline and the talking point.
I think parental rights are a big thing today as well.
Yeah, parental rights for sure in the suburbs. As we look at Montgomery County, Delaware County, Chester County, and then as well as far as the state Supreme High Court justice on that one. If you think about it, the biggest issues are looking at election rules and regulations, and so that I think is a bigger one.
Very true.
Democrats obviously have the majority on the state Supreme Court. Well, I digress, but let's talk about what's going on in Philadelphia, in the city of Philadelphia. And by the way, DA Larry Krasner holding a news conference saying he's making sure he has dozens of ADAs and different officials from his office, from the district attorney's office, making sure that democracy and voting will be protected across Philadelphia at polling places. So if you see something, they definitely want you to say something. However, as far as elderly, senior citizens, et cetera, they were advised maybe they should go along with somebody, have a voting pal, just to be safe.
Right. So we're going to ensure the integrity of the elections with safety. We just won't ensure the citizens' safety in your reign over the city when it comes to crime. Very interesting stance he takes here late in his tenure.
Yeah, so this morning as well, we're learning more about this 18-year-old boy in critical condition this morning after being shot 8 times in Philadelphia. So police say they found the boy suffering from, or the teen, just turned 18, suffering from 8 gunshot wounds throughout his body right near 1800 East Schiller Street. This is in the Kensington section of Philadelphia. The victim transported to the hospital by police officers. They did not wait for an ambulance, and this too often is the case for them. And so they rushed him to the hospital where he was in critical condition. Police say they're holding a man as a prisoner that may be the victim who was shot, but they're not identifying the victim or clarifying whether the man being held as a prisoner is the victim or a suspect in a shooting. So they're trying to get clarification on that one. 2 guns recovered at the scene, according to Philadelphia police. So that's the latest shooting of a teenager in Philadelphia. We also have prosecutors casting John Doherty, Johnny Doc, as betraying his union brethren in the opening statements of federal prosecutors. His defense attorneys, however, say he made some honest mistakes. I thought the Philadelphia Inquirer did have a great line this morning as they said this second embezzlement trial that opened up yesterday could shape up to be death by 1,000 Target receipts.
Death by receipts.
By the Target receipt. That was a great line.
Yeah, that's kind of the way we take people out on this show. Death by receipts, don't we not?
Oh, well put.
Because we keep the receipts here.
Well put.
Yeah.
Well, Philadelphia. Speaking of receipts, we have the update. Philadelphia Eagles responding after power broker and businessman George Norcross says he was thrown out of Sunday's Eagles game. against the Dallas Cowboys for, of course, displaying an American-Israeli flag over a suite wall, the one that he pays for at Lincoln Financial Field. So the team now releasing a statement says Norcross was ejected for becoming, quote, physically and verbally abusive.
Physically,
which is what you said yesterday, Nick.
Well, yes, I did. I thought the hand on the security guard from the footage
Yes.
looked like I thought I couldn't be seeing things.
Yeah.
Tape don't lie.
Okay, he put a hand on him.
Oh, I'm not saying I
mean-
would have ejected him. I'm just saying what the tape shows.
Okay.
You could leave it open for interpretation.
Mr. Norcross claims he was asked to leave because he refused to take down the flag. But Eagles officials say they have a stadium policy that states that signs with any kind of non-game messaging cannot be hung from stadium suites. I read you the stadium yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It is up to their discretion. So Norcross, and I know we have the statements and you'll read them.
Yep.
So we'll get to all of that moving forward. But that's the latest with that one. And of course, a lot of fireworks as far as Donald J. Trump in court yesterday. And so we'll certainly talk about that one. We have Joel Embiid making 76ers franchise history yesterday. So I am just here to serve you. I can't do the Joe Conklin does such a great imitation of him, but has the most 45-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, 5-plus assist games in Sixers franchise history.
I know.
Are you laughing at my imitation?
No, I'm
Joel?
laughing that you said nobody can do it as good as Joe Conklin. It's debatable.
Oh wow!
Oh.
No, I'm just holy crap! Just
I
saying.
say, Joe, nobody does it better.
Oh
Yeah.
All right, I'll make sure I mention this to Conklin next time I see him at
Con-
Zioli's comedy night.
At Parks.
Yeah. Hey, Greg Stocker thinks you're overrated, bro.
No, Greg Stocker did not say that. How dare you? Greg Stocker just said some impressions are better than others. That's all he said.
I love it. But yes, Sixers, we were favored against the Wizards.
I mean, the Wizards. Come on.
The Wizards, they weren't so magical. Washington Wizards. So anyway.
Hey, they're 5-1 now, 6-1.
Yeah,
5-1, yeah.
5-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Harden, who?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean,
he gone.
Nick, 5-1. It's come on.
Is it too early to call the playoffs a guarantee right now for the Sixers?
Well, their next game I think is against the Celtics, who are also 5-1.
that
so,
means we'll lose.
yeah.
So we are sponsored this morning in our news, sports, and weather. We are sponsored by Consumer Cellular. What was that?
No. But I just wanted to let everybody know we're back up on YouTube. So,
Oh, we're back.
Yeah. So
Hi.
at about 6:05.
Hello.
Doesn't look like my. Oh, there we go. I was
Yeah,
gonna
everybody
say,
wave to the camera.
Everybody
didn't,
wave.
It didn't look like my camera was working, but
Good morning.
now we are.
Some would say that's a good thing.
Ouch.
Sorry, Consumer Cellular.
Yes. Consumer Cellular on this sports and weather forecast here. We had, by the way, the score, if I didn't give it, was 128 to 146. Sixers with the 146.
It's the opposite. It's the bigger number on top.
It's going to be a show today,
Well,
folks.
okay, so
Get
what?
ready.
So wait, who's
News
on top?
person.
What's on second?
So
The winner is on top.
I know, but I'm reading it. I'm reading it right off of like
Oh,
NBC,
Lord.
and it says
Oh, yeah.
128 to 146.
All that matters
Wizards
is
v.
the
Sixers.
overhit.
I just was looking at it.
Okay.
Sixers are on top with
Mhm.
146.
Yeah, don't take his guff, Dawn. Just steamroll everybody. It's a steamroll Tuesday.
It's 6:12 and I'm surly already.
Yes.
I did that on purpose because I love to mess with.
I
her.
bring it.
He bring. So Consumer Cellular, thank you for sponsoring our news this morning, offering the exact same nationwide 5G coverage as the major carriers, even in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Their 100% U.S.-based support is just a click away or a call away. Plus, activation is always free. Visit consumercellular.com and switch today. NBC 10 First Alert Forecast. You're going to love this Tuesday Election Day forecast. 71 degrees and sunny for your Tuesday. Obviously, the sun sets earlier, so it'll be dark if you're voting. If you're still voting until 8 o'clock tonight.
Yep.
But so it really gets dark around 6. So maybe try to vote earlier, I would say, if you don't like to vote in the dark. But this is the warmest day of the week by far. So we're still sunny and a slight chance of rain for you tomorrow. A little chillier tomorrow, but today, no rain in the forecast. This is Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 6:13 on this Tuesday morning as we get ready for another Big Take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
Okay, the big take this morning, the Nashville manifesto. I lived in Nashville, Tennessee from February of 2018 through August of 2022 before I moved right back up here to start this show. My daughters, Olivia and Mia, as well as Kristen, still live in Nashville, Tennessee. So when the breaking news came out on March 27th of 2023 that there was a school shooting in Nashville, I immediately became invested, hoping that it was not my daughter's elementary school. I quickly realized that it was not, but it was merely 20 minutes from where my kids go to school. So yesterday, the motives and the details finally came to light as the Nashville shooter's alleged manifesto was leaked to the American public. And if this leak is factually correct, it is far more disturbing than we could have possibly imagined, and we now know why the government had yet to show us and why the media had bailed on this story very quickly. Simply put, it does not fit the narrative. The lamestream media will fall over their own faces to cover this story if it is a straight white cis male, if it's a man wearing a red hat, if he is a conservative, a Republican, a Second Amendment supporter, or if they just share conservative views on social media. If the victims are minorities, or if a different gender is involved, a sexual orientation is different, or a religion is different, all under the victim umbrella. But what happens when the violator is a transgender female and the victims are white children? Well, you have the Nashville shooter and the disturbed manifesto of a deranged, mentally ill person who took the bait from all of the media and the left to perpetuate the belief that white people are evil. So who was under attack on March 27th, 2023? It was innocent children and school employees. But remember what Karine Jean-Pierre said? Well, I do, and I have the receipts. Let's hear from our White House press secretary, KJP, and the administration and who their hearts went out to on that tragic day. Listen and watch.
And one of the things that we saw during the midterm elections is that people don't want their freedoms to be taken. They want us to fight for their freedoms. And so it is shameful, it is disturbing, and our hearts go out to the trans community as they are under attack right now.
She actually says that with a straight face, straight from the binder, straight to your television or audio device. Quote, our hearts go out to the trans community. And why is it this way? Well, the answer is simple. The FBI and the Biden administration has made it crystal clear. The government deems MAGA supporters to be the most serious domestic terror threat to the nation, while they actively tried to conceal the motivations and the manifestations of a child murderer who was hell-bent on a shooting spree after hearing the radical left and their rhetoric on the evils of white people. And let's keep this in mind. Much like East Palestine, Ohio, Joe Biden never went to Nashville after the school shooting. He was just in Maine, though, just recently for that shooting. And why is that? Well, the shooting doesn't fit the narrative, but the Maine shooting did fit the narrative. And if it doesn't match the agenda and it doesn't check the right boxes, this administration acts as if it never existed. But Joe Biden was asked about this last March when it happened. And let's take a trip down memory lane. Here's Joe. Listen and watch. Oh, we don't have that. Okay, well, Joe basically makes a joke out of it. And Josh Hawley says it's a major issue in this country. And then Joe tries to scoff it off and basically say, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I haven't been informed of this situation just yet. But we were all informed yesterday with the American public. Steven Crowder, host of Louder with Crowder, was the source who broke the news on Monday and revealed the photos of the manifesto. And when it comes to these hideous tragedies, I strongly believe that we should never show the face or the name of the perpetrator again. I'm very consistent with that. I shared that with you in the last 2 weeks with the Maine shooting, especially after that they've been apprehended, they've been killed by the authorities, they've been arrested by the authorities, or they take their own life like a bunch of cowards. But I also believe we should show the victims' names and the photos in remembrance of their lives and what their families will have to endure for the rest of their lives. But we should absolutely share the shooter's manifesto, and it should be public. There's no reason to hide anything. There's nobody to protect. The American citizens deserve to know so that they can understand what went into such a disgusting act. The Nashville shooter had a serious hatred of, quote, those little crackers, end quote, and children with, quote, white privilege. Now, I'm going to read a few of the transcripts from the shooter's manifesto here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it for yourself, and you will see the notebook. So go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. According to one page of the manifesto, which was dated February 3rd, 2023, the shooter writes the following, quote, kill those kids, quote, those crackers, quote, going to private fancy schools, quote, with those fancy khakis and sports backpacks, quote, with their daddy's Mustangs and convertibles, quote, F you little S words, I had to clean that up for the radio, quote, D words with your mop yellow hair, quote, want to kill all you little crackers, quote, bunch of little F words, quote, with your white privilege, quote, F-U-Fs. And I had to clean that one up as well. It's very disturbing if you have seen the images or if you're watching right now on YouTube. And that's just one page that I read for you. And it's election day today. And there's no way the government wanted this leak to occur, especially right before an election. They never wanted this revealed at all. And now you know why. Because it doesn't fit the narrative. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal Company.
All right, big take this morning. If you want to jump in, thoughts and reaction, 855-839-1210 is the phone number, 855-839-1210. You can get involved on Twitter and Instagram at 1210WPHT. And, of course, on YouTube, just go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the like and subscribe buttons and be a part of the Kayal Company comment community. We'll get thoughts and reaction to this story on the other side. And also, we have an update from the White House and the Secret Service, as well as Mr. Norcross's statement following Sunday's debacle in his suite at the Eagles game. It's all still ahead. It's a busy first hour of Kayal Company as we continue live on a Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The one I like, since the Eagles are in a bye week this weekend, is San Francisco over Jacksonville. The money line is minus 164 for San Francisco. Place a $5 bet, you can get $150 in bonus bets if and when you win. I love the FanDuel app. It's so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/Greg. FanDuel.com/Greg this NFL season. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT and is the official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in PA. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You're invited to witness a groundbreaking documentary, America's Retirement Dilemma, a documentary of Wall Street's rigged system, featuring powerful exclusive interviews such as the president and CEO of the leading analytics firm over Wall Street, Delbar Incorporated, Lou Harvey, who explains why Wall Street is not set up to have a fiduciary duty to the everyday investor.
Wall Street is not set up to handle a fiduciary relationship. Too expensive to replace all of my compensation systems, retrain all of my people. The whole structure that's been built over the last 100 years would have to be turned on end. I would have to be brutally negative. We have an industry that has been built on caveat emptor, buyer beware.
Hear this and more exclusive interviews with powerful industry leaders, esteemed economists, and top researchers at the Spring Mill Manor, November 14th. Registration is required. Call Crash Proof Retirement, 800-722-9728.
Wherever the road takes you this holiday, make it memorable in the ultimate driving machine. Step into the BMW X5 with capable performance, cutting-edge technology, and unmistakable presence. Or chart a different course in the BMW X3. With style and powerful all-terrain versatility, there's no limit to your adventure. Find your ultimate BMW X3 or X5 at the Road Home sales event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Lease a 2023 BMW X3 for $589 per month. Visit BMWCenters.com today.
Hi, this is Norman the Floorman from Norman Carpet. My wife thinks I'm obsessed with astrology. What planet is she living on? If it's quality carpet at drastic savings, you need to call me now. At Norman Carpet Warehouse, I stock the largest selection of commercial carpet in the Delaware Valley. And yes, we can install within 48 hours. Call 800-220-RUGS. Call Norman the Floorman to save 50% off our competitor's best price. Now that's not chopped liver.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
At Simply Safe, our 24/7 lifeguard protection helps stop crime in real time. Because during a break-in, every second counts. And these days, every dollar counts. Right now, get 50% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. It's U.S. News and World Report's Best Home Security of 2023. Advanced Home Security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Driving home this evening, I could have sworn we had it all worked out.
626, welcome back in, Kayal and Company, as we continue live Tuesday morning. Election day, a lot of things hanging in the balance in, quote, an off-election year. David O will officially be eliminated by about 9:30 this morning. He'll be golfing with me at 11. Of course, we got a lot hanging in the balance, both in Pennsylvania, both in New Jersey.
Yeah, really.
School boards. We'll try to make sense of what's kind of up for grabs within both states. Obviously, parental rights, a big thing in Central Bucks. We'll get into that as well. And also some follow-ups, really some updates here in the first hour. We'll give you George Norcross's statement following what happened Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field, and then also what the White House and Secret Service have yet to do in regards to the pro-Palestinian protesters Saturday night at the White House. But I do want to just follow up a little bit here from the big take on the Nashville manifesto and the shooter that was released yesterday, that information. Don't want to mention the shooter's name because I don't want to give that person any credit, even though they're long gone. But I just find it amazing. You know, yesterday before, like I forget where I was driving yesterday, and I saw, I was at a red light. I checked my phone. I saw that the Nashville shooter manifesto was like the #1 trend on across all of Twitter, now known as X. And I thought, boy, without seeing any of the details yet or who's breaking it, my first thought was interesting timing for the release of this information, because I thought it was going to come from the government or perhaps a source within mainstream media, because it's the day before an election, and I'm thinking the left, the Dems, and the media, they want to sell the fear of, you know, white people being the devil, and everybody should be afraid of white people before the election. But this actually came from what I believe is a host who is, I don't know, he's got like 2 million followers. Personally, I've never heard of the guy, but I believe he does do like, quote, conservative talk radio or conservative broadcasts, whatever medium he is on. And I mentioned his name in the big take. And somehow this guy had access and got sources and apparently, allegedly, let's be careful with that because it still hasn't been confirmed at this moment, that he was able to release 3 pages of the manifesto. And if you saw it on YouTube that we were broadcasting it, Phil had one of the pictures up that I was reading verbatim some of the quotes. I mean, it is deeply disturbing and it is deranged. And it is, I mean, let's be honest. We are now, 8 months almost, 7.5 months removed from that tragedy. And if this individual, assuming this is all factually true, and I didn't tweet.
I think
It is confirmed?
They verified
Okay.
it.
I didn't want to tweet about it last night.
Right, Dawn, the Nashville police verified it that it is true.
Okay.
And they're aware of it. I believe so far what has been released, they believe is authentic. I think the media. I think what's happening here is that the media wants to verify it through the police.
Yes.
So I think there's a little bit of that going on, but I think what you've shown in your big take, you can be confident that that's the real thing.
Okay. It said the latest I had here from Fox News was that Nashville authorities are aware of the purported leak. They also say that this was calculated and planned. We are aware of the assertion, although the photographs are not Metro Nashville Police Department crime scene images. So somebody, somehow, some way, was able to take these images or get these pictures and get it to this guy who broke it as a big story. And it was the biggest story yesterday on social media. And I think the big takeaway for me with this story is, make no mistake about it, if this was a man wearing a MAGA hat with a rifle, we would have known and seen the manifesto before Easter.
Yes.
But this is a transgendered individual that, let's face it, you heard Karine Jean-Pierre. You know what the administration likes to spin. You know what the mainstream media likes to tell you with their slant. The trans community is under attack. Yet this was a trans student or a former student that went into a school and murdered innocent children. And I believe that the FBI, the Biden administration, the local authorities, the media, they never wanted this released because flat out, point blank, it doesn't fit the narrative. And this is, again, and let's just go back to 2 weeks ago. Let's just go back to the Maine shooting. How quickly did we find out that shooter retweeted a post from Tucker Carlson? We found out quickly, right? Now, this guy didn't apparently have a manifesto, but we got a lot of details in very quick order and quick fashion. Yet here we are once again, selectively picking and choosing which shooters we discuss, who gets the most coverage, which story gets shoved to the back burner, and then making these under attack claims, who's under attack constantly, so forth and so on. But I got to tell you, Dawn, this was so obvious to me, like all along. We would not know today, right now, if it wasn't for this person. And there's going to be an investigation. Somebody's going to be in trouble for sending this out. But the cover has been blown, so to speak.
Yeah, I imagine now this so-called manifesto was found in the killer's vehicle, right?
Yep.
And I imagine anybody who saw it and then thinks about the fact that this happened last March is outraged. I mean, think about being in that community and the outrage you would feel as a community member, no matter who you are. And to think that this, these were little 9-year-old little kids.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was a target, Hallie Scruggs, the pastor's daughter.
That's correct.
And the pastor was counseling this mentally troubled, individual who was obviously much more dangerous and volatile than anybody realized. But this is a hate crime. And based on, what you were talking about in the big take, think about it. Let's take Hallie. Hallie was a little 9-year-old girl who was a victim of a hate crime, and she was targeted because she was a little white girl.
Mm-hmm. Well, she had white privilege.
Right?
And she was a little cracker.
She's a victim of racism and a hate crime.
Yep.
I'm just, turning this as what it would be called if she were, an African-American child, right?
Yep.
And let's say she were a trans or an LGBT. So the point is, it doesn't matter to me what community you're in.
Yeah.
If you're a killer, you're a killer.
Right.
And if you're a victim, God forbid, 9-year-old little kids. And then the others, weren't they like people in their 60s?
Right.
If I recall correctly.
Yeah, there was, I think one was a janitor and one was a teacher. There were a few adults that were killed in this.
Yeah, I'm looking. So, 60-year-old head of school, Catherine Kuntz, 61-year-old Cynthia Peak, and I believe Mr. Michael Hill in his 60s. He was, I believe, a custodian.
Correct.
Like to your point. And then the 3 little 9-year-old kids, Evelyn, Hallie, and William.
Yep.
Where was all the coverage about
That's right.
them?
The media only cares when the shooter is a white man and the victims are anybody other than a white man. That's the only thing they care about. And if those two don't line up, they move on from it. And if those two certainly don't line up, the government, the left, the Biden administration, the federal agencies that get involved, they feel like they are not compelled to tell you. And this is apparently still going on in a court battle, I guess, between the parents and the school and a few other individuals that have been brought up in the suit. And this is something that could be tied up in litigation for many more months, if not years. So without that leak from that anonymous source to that guy who reported it yesterday and darn near broke social media, today we do not know just how deranged this shooter that is now no longer alive was.
Well, and a lot of times I would say, okay, first of all, if it was in evidence somewhere, that's a possible leak. But what's more likely was that with lawsuits, there are copies of this. All the lawyers have to get copies. All the defendants have to get copies. And so I suspect, if I'm going to say the usual suspects, I would say a court leak, because all of those clients, all of those attorneys, the attorneys, paralegals, their assistants.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there are a lot of people who would then see this and you have to get it.
A lot of trees are killed in law offices, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of paper gets printed in law offices.
This is true.
Trust me.
And they also make money that way, too.
That
when they
is
print
correct.
it out, you have to, like, as a reporter,
Yep.
if I go and ask City Hall or a court, I pay for those documents.
Yep.
But, yeah, I would say that's your likely leak. But I
think
kind
you're
of
right.
chuckle at the fact that the mayor vows an investigation into how this was leaked.
Yeah.
And not...
Yeah,
you
John
know,
Cooper.
Oh, my God.
He's another empty suit. Let's grab a call quick, and then we'll move on to some other updates. Let me get Ray in Warminster in here who has some thoughts. Ray, good morning. How are you, sir?
Yeah, this is tragic beyond belief. You know how the authorities withheld that information. You know, and I thought it was Trump supporters that were supposed to be the unhinged ones, but no, I don't know if this comment really makes sense. So if I get off track, bear with me. Do you know who a guy named Jimmy Carr is? The comedian?
Yes.
Greg does, yes.
Okay, so he was on Joe Rogan, right? And he said something that I think has a lot of weight with what's going on in this world. One thing we're lacking anymore is humor and the ability to be fun with each other. And he said Hitler took that away in World War II. He didn't like it because it made us human. All these people that do things like this, they lack a level of that. They lack. You're not allowed to have fun anymore or joke around with each other anymore. And it trains people's brains to be miserable and hate people. I'm not saying that's what caused this person to do this, but there's so many factors involved. From the school districts on up to who that person's hanging around with. And I wonder if they were on drugs, any type of pharmaceutical drugs, because they had mental issues that maybe freaked them out. Who knows? There's all kinds of factors. But the real tragedy is withholding that manifesto because it didn't fit the narrative, and that's a disgrace to those families that are victims of that person.
Yes, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, Ray. And you're right to a certain extent. I don't know if it, I mean, obviously there was mental health issues. Who knows what that person was on? But I think kind of your point being, you know, we live in such the phrase and the term used to be a politically correct world, but now we live in such and I hate using the word because my boy DeSantis destroyed that word for the rest of us. We live in such a woke world where you're not allowed to joke, you're not allowed to have fun. People are offended by everything. People have to walk on eggshells. So I think that's kind of the point that you were making, and I don't disagree with that. 855-839-1210 is the number. So the next update we get to is what transpired on Saturday night, and it was a big topic of conversation yesterday on the show. We know Saturday evening that pro-Palestinian protesters showed up at the White House, and they were trying to climb the fence. Secret Service was on high alert. They're on the other side of the fence, standing in the grass, basically saying, you know, if you climb over this fence, it's not going to end up well for you. We saw people banging drums, waving Palestinian flags. There were F. Joe Biden chants, and there was also vandalism of a gate, vandalism of some statues. And, you know, obviously on Sunday morning, you're really not going to hear from anybody within the Biden administration. So Monday comes back around and it's time for another work week. You would think the White House would issue a statement. Maybe the Secret Service would issue a few arrests, and you got nada. The White House silent after the pro-Palestinian demonstrators vandalized its gates on Saturday nights with signs and paint during a rowdy protest over the weekend. Tens of thousands of people descended on Washington, D.C. on Saturday to demand a ceasefire between Israel and terror group Hamas. Protesters could be seen vandalizing the White House fence and wrenching at the gate as anti-Semitic graffiti was left on several buildings along the protesters' path as they marched through the city. People that went from Freedom Plaza to the White House, and Secret Service spokesperson Anthony Guglielmi told Fox News on Monday that the federal law enforcement agencies have made no arrests after Saturday night, and the White House did not respond to multiple requests for comment on the demonstration. And according to Fox, just one arrest has been made in totality, and that was made through the hour-long ordeal on Saturday, where an adult male was arrested by the Metro Police Department in D.C., and he was arrested on a destruction of property charge. The department also said it is further investigating acts of vandalism at the McPherson Metro Station and on multiple police vehicles. So not a surprise. We've seen what this administration stands for, what they believe, what side, what stance, what slant they have taken. It has been very sympathetic to the Palestinian people, to Gaza, almost borderline supporting Hamas and their right to, go after Israelis and innocent Jewish people. Yesterday, one of the most astounding comments in the cut sheet was the Barack Obama clip where he was literally trying to basically say, well, there's blood on both people's hands here.
Nobody's hands are clean.
Nobody's hands are clean. This administration, whether it's the Nashville shooter or the pro-Palestinian Hamas supporters, it's amazing the stances that this administration takes 3.5 years in. It really is. They basically tell you we are anti-Israel, we are anti the white guy, and we are going to defend the groups that have been marginalized in past.
It's interesting because I have two clips coming up at 7:45 for the cut sheet of liberal Democrats who are out campaigning. One is Cory Booker, the other is John Fetterman, and they're getting heckled by pro-Palestinian. It is unbelievable to me. They can't go anywhere.
No.
We heard Hillary Clinton they cannot go anywhere without being heckled. It is. I've never seen anything like it.
You could argue right now from many different angles that the left is coming unglued, so to speak, here. You've got Biden, who nobody really wants to run. Gavin Newsom's laying in the weeds. We'll get to the story later. Fetterman is calling out Newsom for basically running for president without publicly declaring. Then you've got the divide with the squad Dems and Biden. And, Biden has been very, very pro-Palestinian so far, yet it's not good enough for the squad Dems. This, if you're a Republican hoping for the left to come undone and have it blow up in their face here and cost them in elections, I think you love what you see so far. You certainly disagree with their stance, but as far as rooting for them to come, because what do we always hear? And Dawn always says it: GOP, Republicans, get it together. The fighting, the bickering within the party. Now you're seeing it on the left here, which is a fascinating turnaround here. I think if Republicans can really rally, whether it's behind Trump or behind Mike Johnson or whoever, and get their you-know-what together, you just kind of look over across the sideline at the other party, and they're like, man, they're kind of a mess right now a year out from an election.
Yeah, they're definitely losing support from this. There's no question in my mind they are. So it'll be interesting to see how much it affects, polls 6 months from now.
That's correct.
But, you read all those polls yesterday. We played some of them on the cut sheet. Like, it's not any mainstream media poll. Like, it's not just these conservative-leaning polls. Any mainstream media polls. Like, the Biden administration is in trouble.
They are.
And I think a lot of it, has to do with just what people perceive the world as right now.
That is correct. And you also have people that know what they're talking about within the Democratic Party, and people that have been involved with these sorts of things, such as David Axelrod. We'll get to this story later on. Axelrod coming out saying that Joe Biden should drop out of the 2024 race, which is very interesting.
Yeah, his tweet was a little more biting than his comments, because I have I pulled his comments. He was on CNN yesterday.
Okay.
So he doesn't walk it back, but it's not. I saw that tweet. I was like, oh man, Axelrod telling Biden to drop out.
A little more nuance to it.
He kind of walks it back a little bit on CNN. We'll play that at 7:45 as well.
All right. 855-839-1210. One more follow-up and update when we come back. George Norcross issues his statement. Dawn gave you the Eagles statement in the news, and we'll discuss this on the other side. It's Kayal and Company. Great to have all of you and Nick, Dawn, and Greg here on a Tuesday morning on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Offices in Philadelphia, Radnor, and Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Scott Trout, licensed in Missouri, Illinois, and Georgia only. Michelle Ferrari, licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Virtua Health is here for you, all of you. Here for the run-of-the-mills, the out-of-the-blues. Here for everything in between. And with our Rowan University partnership, we're here, rethinking the way academic medicine feels. Welcome to a more convenient, smarter healthcare experience. And that's more good for everyone. Find a Virtua physician or location near you at virtua.org. Virtua Health, now more than ever, here for good.
It was the day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Rescue Natural Supplements' unprecedented Black Friday sale is back again this year. The savings are bigger and better than ever. Right now, they're slashing prices on all supplements with discounts ranging from 50 to an incredible 80% off the total cost. Rescue has a wide array of products to address your health needs, including immunity, cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. It's 50% off omega-3s, probiotics, and so much more. And one more thing, this Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue product consultant 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are 50 to 80% off during the entire month of November. So why wait? Start shopping at res-q.com today or call 800-26-ALIVE.
Hey, it's Dawn. I'm just watching the sunrise over the construction sites back by the parking garage, over the sites of Philadelphia. But I'm imagining that I'm sipping a limoncello from my hotel balcony, savoring the sunset beyond the Isle of Capri. Quite a contrast. Yeah, I'm just escaping for a moment. Escape with me, if you will, the Amalfi Coast, Positano, Sorrento. Join me next spring as we discover the wonderful sights in southern Italy with our friends from Conservative Tours. Nobody does it better than Conservative Tours. The Abbey of Monte Cassino, Pompeii, enough time to see all the great ancient sites in Rome as well, all while enjoying a gastronomical event for 12 days of touring. Olive oil production, a mozzarella farm, wineries, tasting sessions galore. The group dining events they're known for are legendary. Just ask my friends Dom and Ro Giordano. 5267. Yes, 5267, and that includes your nonstop airfare while supplies last. Just call toll-free 888-733-9494. Go to conservativetours.com. You'll see my picture, then the full itinerary. Yes, my husband, Larry Menti, my boys, Michael and David. It's our family trip of a lifetime. Make it yours, too. And we'll discover as well Italy's best-kept secret, Puglia, charming villages, unparalleled cuisine. And we'll find out together why so many Italians, the locals, take their vacations in Puglia. Authentically Italian, unspoiled, so picturesque. So come away with me, conservativetours.com. Let's do this. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Paoli, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Kayal and Company, 6:50 live on Tuesday morning. Good to have all of you in. Nick, Dawn, and Greg here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. What's on the cut sheet? That's coming up 7:45. Dawn will have some news to kick off hour number 2, Election Day. We'll give you all the details for Pennsylvania and New Jersey on the other side as we kick off the 7 o'clock hour. But final update of the morning and follow-up from what we discussed yesterday. If you missed yesterday's show, shame on you. If you're late to the party, just remember the following.
We start at 6 a.m.
And George Norcross, big businessman, Democratic Party organizer. He's been very influential for many years in the politic game and the business field. And he's got a very nice little suite in a box at Lincoln Financial Field.
Excuse me, he's got a big suite.
He's got a big suite. Huge. And it's like the one Dorenzo crashes for Odyssey.
I'm surprised Anthony Dorenzo was not in there to witness it.
Yeah, it's a good call by you. Good call.
Yep.
Yeah, he can't crash the box all the time.
The Norcross box, I said this yesterday, the Norcross box is a few over from the Odyssey box.
Yeah,
so
he could have moseyed on down there and grabbed some champagne and then went back and had some more free food. So Norcross, as you look over the box, and you'll see the video on YouTube, is hanging over the rafter, so to speak, over the ledge, a flag that is part United States flag, and it kind of fades or blends into the Israel flag, which I personally have no problem with. I think my stance yesterday was, and it's usually a very consistent one, when I'm at sports or something that is, supposed to be not political or not social, same thing with schools and hanging flags in schools. We're either going to hang them all, show them all, or we're going to ban all of them. We don't get to selectively pick and choose. And we said yesterday, well, I wonder how this would have played out if that was a BLM flag or a pride flag. Dawn gave you the statement from the Eagles in the 6 o'clock news. We can get back to that in a second. But if you're watching, you'll see the video on YouTube, Phil, if you can. Let's play the video. And I will read you George Norcross's statement that he released yesterday. And he said the following. Yesterday, I was forcibly removed and assaulted by the non-police security staff of Lincoln Financial Field and the Eagles/NFL for refusing to remove a 3x5 American and Israeli flag that I hung off the box I was sitting in. As a longtime passionate fan and season ticket holder, I have watched the Eagles and the NFL make clear and strong statements on numerous important civil justice issues and ethnic and world conflicts, including supporting the people of Ukraine. So as a strong supporter of Israel, a country which was viciously attacked by the terrorist group Hamas less than a month ago, I thought it was an important statement to make. It remains unclear why the Eagles and the NFL believe that the U.S.-Israeli flag should be deemed obscene or indecent or otherwise inappropriate, which is what I was cited for, and should therefore be ripped down despite both issuing public statements strongly supporting Israel following the October 7th attacks. But as I consider whether to file a suit against the Philadelphia Eagles, the NFL, and the security company, which yanked me out of the box and paraded me in front of thousands of fans, I urge other supporters of Israel to make their feelings known to the team and the NFL, just as they have to universities like Penn and Harvard.
Wow.
So what do we think about that? And by the way, I thought I saw it yesterday, and I don't think it's a big deal. And to me, it would not be, like, I would not eject the guy. I'm not bothered by it. But Norcross did put his hand on the breast of the officer.
And that's when you can see it, because we're playing it right now on YouTube, youtube.com/1210WPHT. We're playing it on a loop. You can see as soon as he puts his hand on the security officer, that's when they escort him out of there. See?
Yeah.
Right there. And then, okay.
So do we think that he gets to stay in the box if the officer just takes the flag down and there's no physical touching?
Yes.
I think what he's alleging is that, because we can't see from the angle, that the officer put his hand up or put his hand on him first to stop him. And I mean, he is angry. You can see that he's angry about it.
He kind of shoves off the arm of the second officer in the yellow highlighted, I don't know, like those jackets you wear if you're jogging at night or if you're doing traffic stops. And see right here, he grabs his arm, and now he's like, get off me right there. Yeah. There's another swipe. So he actually, you could argue from a letter of the law standpoint, and again, I don't think this is a big issue, but you could argue he put his hands 3 separate times on 2 different individuals.
Yeah,
if I'm representing the security officer, that's the case I'm making.
And if you've been in those boxes, here's the thing. I feel for both of them because I know a lot of those security guards over the years. They're good guys. You know what I mean? Like, they're just trying to.
They're just doing their job.
They're just doing their job.
Yep.
On the other hand, he really feels like, I'm sure he felt this was political, and he obviously feels strongly about this and couldn't believe that somebody actually, he's seen rainbow flags and every other thing.
Yep.
And so I see both of their points. So to me, that's unfortunate. I don't know about a lawsuit because, in truth, it's their house. You know what I mean? It's technically it's their house, and if they say that you can't, if you want to come and put a flag in my house, and I say no, that's my house.
So
I don't know that. I think he's saying legal stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll come to fruition.
No, I agree with you.
And you read the Eagles statement. Their official rule is that there's no messaging of any sort, as I'm summarizing, basically. That's correct?
Yeah. Well, he was told, I think what irked him was that he said, why? Why do you have to take it down?
Okay.
And in his statement, they said something to the effect of, it's offensive.
Oh.
That's what set him off. He said offensive.
Well,
it's an American flag, and these people were slaughtered. It was a terrorist act. Well, that's, I think, what got it heated.
The problem too is that there's too much. They don't explicitly say, because Dawn read the rules yesterday of Lincoln Financial Field and what they allow and what they don't allow. There's kind of a lot of gray area, and it's up to interpretation.
Yes.
So they should either have a hard and fast rule where because I saw. Dawn tweeted out the video yesterday. It got a ton of traction, and a lot of people were saying, "It doesn't matter what it is. You're not allowed to do anything." But it doesn't explicitly say that.
Okay.
It doesn't explicitly say no banners, nothing. It just says if we deem it offensive.
Yeah.
So it's really up to interpretation.
I don't know how that's offensive.
Well,
to be honest, right?
And then they need to have a hard and fast rule. Then they say no. No flags or no
That was going to be
banners.
my next question, because I was living in the South at the time of the BLM riots, summer of 2020. So that upcoming football season, 2020, and also 2021.
Yeah.
Were there ever any BLM flags allowed or shown or seen in Lincoln Financial Field? Because then I would say, well, then there's a precedent of allowing those, despite what your rules might say or whatever you have drawn up that people can read from for what's permitted or prohibited. But then I would say then there's a complete inconsistency here. So you're telling me you were allowed to, but if there wasn't, then I actually give Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles credit, because think about this as well. Jeffrey Lurie, as well as General Manager Howie Roseman, are both Jewish.
Yep.
So the fact that they are consistent and no flags being shown, then I will give them credit, despite the fact that, I mean, if they wanted to allow that as 2 Jewish people that are the top 2 people within the organization, then I'd have no problem with that as well. So, But if they're consistent with it for the last 3.5, 4 years.
But it's the rules of the link, right? Not necessarily the Eagles.
Yeah, it's just
Well,
Lincoln.
Jeffrey Lurie basically owns the link, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what he says goes, I would think.
So I don't know if it's what the NFL allows each franchise to set forth its own rules. But to Greg's point, there's a lot of gray area.
Mhm.
And they might, moving forward, if I'm them, I'm just going to say no flags.
Yeah.
Just,
Because with a lot
you
of
know,
this stuff,
it just make it easier.
all of these franchises that operate as an entity within a sport are basically allowed to operate how they will. And remember, just last week the World Series ended. The Texas Rangers were the only team in Major League Baseball not to do a Pride Night in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
So there's no mandate that comes down from the league office that says you have to do this or you can't do that.
It's true.
The teams get the chance to operate how they wish.
Yep.
All right. 855-839-1210. We'll come back, kick off hour number 2 with the news, and then we'll get you everything you need to know, both in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey. Election Day 2023. Back after this on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
You get up every morning and make it all work. You make the hospitals and the labs work. You keep the shelves stocked, the cash registers ringing, the production lines producing. At Vestas, we have the uniforms and workplace supplies you need to do what you do every day. When you think uniforms, floor mats, first aid kits, restroom supplies, think Vestas. Vestas, uniforms and workplace supplies for the people who make it all work. Learn more at Vestas.com.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Gone South, winner of the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award, is back. Laredo, Texas, a border town community where in the fall of 2018, 4 women were found dead. In Season 3 of Gone South, The Sign Cutter, join award-winning producer and journalist Jed Lipinski as he unravels the story behind the manhunt for a serial killer that led to a shocking standoff.
All episodes of Gone South, The Sign Cutter are available now exclusively on the free Odyssey app or listen weekly wherever you get your podcasts.
Life can get hectic. It's easy to lose focus and balance. It's time to retreat from the noise. Take a breath, regain your inner peace. Visit Malvern Retreat House, the nation's oldest and largest Catholic retreat house. Our stunning 125-acre campus is the perfect place to step back, reflect, and recharge. Malvern Retreat House hosts men and women's retreats, helping individuals live life centered on Christ. Go to malvernretreat.com to discover your journey. Retreat from the noise. Hear God's voice.
They pretty much hurt doing anything. I couldn't ride a bicycle. You don't have your life because you don't have your mobility.
So when Patrick heard about QC Kinetics and their non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain, no waiting, he called them immediately.
There's no downtime. There's no rehab. That was the tipping point for me. I didn't have to take any drugs. I didn't have to rehab.
Before considering surgery, check out QC Kinetics all-natural treatment options that restore and repair damaged joint tissue in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back.
If you have knee replacement surgery, and then the knee is not yours, and there's no guarantee that that's going to be successful.
QC Kinetics. Patients around the country are raving about the results. They're getting back their mobility, taking back their lives with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
.02, it is hour number 2 of Kayal and Company here on this Tuesday morning, Election Day. 855-839-1210 is how you climb in. What's on the cut sheet? Well, you'll find out 7:45 this morning. We will also give you some of the details for Pennsylvania and New Jersey when it comes to the general election. Big school boards. We've got the mayoral race, so to speak, in Philadelphia. Of course, you've got some things going on in New Jersey as the battle for the state legislator is up for grabs. A lot of seats that we will mention this morning as well. But right now, let's get to some of the news. And by the way, there's a lot of news with Trump from yesterday that I want to get to as well with what played out in that courtroom yesterday before you hear some of the audio, which will be coming up at 7:45. But right now, let's get to the news. 7:03, round two, the great Dawn Stensland.
Yeah, and polls opened just 3 minutes ago across Pennsylvania and New Jersey, open all day until 8 o'clock tonight. So it's weather-wise a beautiful day as we begin Kayal and Company News Live this November 7th, Election Day. And as long as you're in line to vote by 8 p.m., you are entitled to cast your ballot. So even if there's that long line outside your polling place, if you're in line, that's the law. They have to let you go in and vote. So you can go to the Pennsylvania Department of State website, by the way, if you want to just make sure of and confirm your actual polling site, if you think it's changed or anything of that nature. In the news this morning, and there is so much happening, we've talked about the fact that we have a teenager shot 18 times in the Kensington section of neighborhood, in the Kensington section of Philadelphia, and a lot of questions surrounding that situation with police investigating. We had a big news conference here in Philadelphia with DA Larry Krasner holding a news conference talking about how he was protecting election integrity and democracy, and is saying that anybody who tries to stop the process of voting, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent.
I'm finally going to flex my district attorney muscle on you people.
So at least he's protecting that law.
Yes.
We have prosecutors in their opening arguments and the opening arguments for defense attorneys as well in a big trial that's being watched nationally. This is for John Doherty, a former big-time, big-name, big personality, and big union boss here in Philadelphia. So he's being portrayed by federal prosecutors in his second trial here as somebody who betrayed his union brethren, embezzling $600,000 from members of Local 98 of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Doherty's attorneys arguing, however, that that's not the case at all, and that if he made some mistakes along the way financially, they were mistakes, but he never betrayed his union brethren. But as I mentioned at 6 o'clock, they have thousands of Target receipts that they're going through, saying he spent a ton of money at Target on himself. Target of all places. It's like, I don't know.
If you got a nickname as cool as Johnny Doc, is that where you're blowing your bankroll at? Target?
I don't know. To me, I think the Target receipts are fascinating, because if he's saying, I was buying it for the union, some socks, some underwear, so.
Hey, good discounts on the sweatpants this time of year. You get 2 pairs for $15.
If I accidentally put it on the Target credit card and it was, so that's what, but they put it out there. But it's a serious trial. It's the second trial, as we've talked about, and they say they have dozens of, FBI wiretap recordings, etc. And also the defense attorneys for Doherty saying that the key witness for the prosecution was caught actually cheating the union and stealing from the union, and he's trying to save himself from more jail time. So that one is playing out big, and obviously he's a big personality, so that's captured some ire of the national media. Yes, we've been talking about a story that's also making national media, and that is, New Jersey power broker, a very wealthy, well-known man, George Norcross, who was at the Philadelphia Eagles game on Sunday, and there's a back and forth as he was outraged that ultimately they took down his flag from being displayed from his suite wall there at Lincoln Financial Field. The flag, of course, was an American-Israeli flag. So we've been discussing that all morning. We'll continue to do so. But the latest is that an apparently Republican presidential candidate, Chris Christie, was in that Politico reports was in his box at one point.
I thought he was. I mean, because I saw Dom had tweeted earlier in the day about it. And then I guess we had the conversation yesterday wondering if he ever made it into the stadium, right? Because we didn't see him because Fox never cut to him in any of the boxes. He must have been tucked away in the back. He was probably loading up his plate with, some
at the buffet.
At the buffet,
you're suggesting
as
that?
all the conflict is going on. He's like, I only pick fights with Trump.
But they were close allies when Christie was governor of New Jersey, so that would make sense. Although, I mean, Norcross is a huge Eagles fan. We know Chris Christie is a big Dallas fan. maybe that's why he was tucked in
Tough
the back.
one to swallow for Chris yesterday.
So Mark on the YouTube chat writes, I'm no George Norcross fan, but as a former employee of the Eagles, they are very much political and will follow whatever the woke agenda is at the time. Politically speaking, NFL enables this behavior.
Not wrong. Not wrong. The NFL, especially the NFL in general, we've seen all the social messaging issues. I have no idea politically what the Eagles brass are individually, though.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what's so interesting, super interesting about this story is that George Norcross, certainly not a conservative.
No.
He's a huge Democrat power broker. You know what I mean? Like,
he's the old school. He's not.
I
right?
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
He's not like a left progressive.
More of a classic liberal.
I
moderate.
agree.
He's like a Chris Christie.
Yeah.
Who, to win being a governor, right, of New Jersey, you can't be you can't be a real conservative.
And let's also, and I think I'm accurate when I say this, most Democrats across the board on that side of the party are in support of Israel. It's the squad Dems, it's the radical left, it's the progressives that are so pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas. I think, but that's all you ever hear from. It's the vocal minority. I think there are more George Norcrosses than there are Rashida Tlaibs out there in the party.
Yeah.
It's just that wing of the party has hijacked the party, so to speak.
Yeah, well, they have the loudest voices. So,
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so the biggest race in our area, as we talk about Election Day moving forward, Philadelphia mayor, we choose the 100th mayor, Sherelle Parker, all but considered a shoo-in, 7-1 Republican registration. David O, I don't even see where he's going to be voting, so he hasn't
Even
released.
he's not voting for himself.
No, I'm sure he is, but I don't. Usually they release, where they let the media know.
Mhm.
So I'm sure he'll do that this morning.
Yeah.
But obviously, other city council races with some large implications.
Yeah.
Especially when we think of Jim Hasher and Drew Murray, who we've talked a lot about, who are the Republicans running for those at-large seats. And in truth, the Working Families Party is trying to wipe out any Republican representatives, which represents more than 100,000 people in the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I saw a really cool story. It was like a 5-minute video documentary yesterday on Twitter about David O and his family upbringing. I guess his dad was a pastor or did something with a church, and he was walking through one of the neighborhoods, and they were filming him and talking about, this is the neighborhood I grew up in. And he was basically, the point of the video was not to move away from the troubled issues, but to fix the troubled issues. It's like, we always talk about, well, if I just take some medicine, I'll feel better. Well, you're not fixing the root cause of what's causing you the pain. And he kind of talked about that yesterday. I thought it was a pretty cool video. I'll reshare it on Twitter if I can find it again.
Yeah, I think he's well-liked and well-respected. I think Sherelle Parker likes him. They've had a very cordial campaign, and they've been very respectful. And to your point, Nick, remember, he was stabbed outside his home. What was that, 5-6 years ago?
Oh, yeah, that is correct.
Remember that? And he was stabbed and recovered, and doesn't really like to talk. Last time he was here for something for KYW, I had chatted with him, and he doesn't like to even bring that up. Never even, very humble, and doesn't. I think any other politician, could, even a radio talk show host. Imagine if Rich Cioli had been stabbed in Philadelphia,
oh my God.
right? We would, or any one of us, we'd be talking about it.
Absolutely.
But he never ever talked about being a victim. Just about, like you're saying, wanting to lead us out of that kind of environment.
That's correct.
In Philadelphia, yeah. And so to your point, in New Jersey, I know it's an off-year election when we think about it, but still in New Jersey, all the 120 legislative races are up for grabs this morning. And so many, how will that turn as New Jersey voters wrap up the casting ballots for the new legislature with those 120 seats on the ballot? I say wrap up because I think they started voting. Wasn't it? What did we say? October 28th?
It was pretty soon, pretty early.
So it's like a week.
Yeah.
It's more than election week that you have in New Jersey.
Yep.
So we have that going on. So there is so much happening across the city. We got it all covered for you. And, of course, the all-important forecast that we want to give you, the NBC 10 First Alert forecast, 70 degrees. I said 71, but they've just adjusted it. 70 degrees, but sunny and crisp and beautiful today, and unseasonably warm for this November day. Tomorrow, just 55 degrees, a slight chance that we might see some showers moving through. We actually need it. It's quite dry. And then Thursday, we pop back up to 70 degrees, sort of this yo-yo, if you will. So 70 today, 55 tomorrow, back to 70 for your Thursday. Friday and Saturday, 55 degrees. Friday, cloudy for Saturday the 11th, which is Veterans Day, and many ceremonies and commemorations this week, but especially Saturday for Veterans Day on Saturday, and as well Patrick Zeoli's birthday. And then Sunday, it looks like 50 degrees, clouds move in. So Saturday, a beautiful day, looking like it'll be gorgeous. Also for Germantown Academy and Penn Charter PC Day, the big rivalry, which is the oldest high school rivalry in the nation.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And who would you say is the better team this year?
Well, of course, Germantown Academy.
Okay,
but that's not true.
It's not true?
It's not true at all.
All right, so I'll
Why don't
take.
you shut it?
I'll take Penn Charter minus 4.5. Put me down for $20.
I'm going to try and go to the game on Saturday because
Cool.
my neighbors, who are also very good friends of mine,
Yes.
their son plays.
Oh.
So
You're going to leave the Stocker compound.
I'm going to be tailgating with. I'm going to
Wow.
be tailgating with the Stensland Mentees.
Yeah.
So
You're going to go live on Twitter and live stream it?
No, I'm not going to do any of that because that's not what I do.
That's right.
Not everything needs to be on Twitter. I just have to make sure everybody in my house is feeling okay.
I know they all
before I do that.
Yeah, it seems like between the weather flip-flopping around like you just mentioned on, like everybody's got a cold or an ear infection or a
Yes.
stuffy nose right now. Sore
And
throat.
allergy season, it's dry, it's kind
Yeah.
of nasty.
Yeah.
I know. I imagine we'll see our friend Pete Cherokee. I always blame him. He brings out the Chickies and Pete's, the free fries for all the PC people. So I think that's their good luck charm.
Free
Gotta get rid
fries
of
for
it.
a high school football game?
I know.
Oh,
Oh, he brings a Chickies and the truck, like
Oh,
the
he brings
food
it- oh.
truck. Oh yeah, it's amazing.
oh, beautiful.
I know. Well, this is probably some of the most elite high school football I've ever seen in my life.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, it's going to be a beautiful forecast. Please get out and vote for sure, wherever you are, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, some other states across the nation. This is Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. So as you mentioned, Election Day, polls open right now in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, and Kentucky. On the New Jersey front, quote, off year because there's no races for governor, president, or Congress, but all 120 seats in the legislature up for grabs, 40 in the state Senate, 80 in the assembly on the ballot. And Republicans trying to expand and build off of that momentum from 2 years ago in 2021 and take at least one House for the first time in more than 20 years. Polls in New Jersey, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And also one of the top races is in the 3rd District State Senate, as Republican Ed Durr is up against Democrat John Berzicelli. And obviously we've had Ed Durr on the station before. And
Sugar Ed.
And yeah, and remember the thing with Rooney played out
that's
over the Sunday
right.
show?
That was so funny.
And that was
I got called out. I got all.
Was that in the spring
spanked.
or the summer? It was a while ago now, right?
Yes.
It was back in April.
In the primary.
It was back in April when the primary was.
So that's kind of what you have going on in Jersey, and then of course in Pennsylvania you've got a lot going on. We have Sherelle Parker versus David O. To me, it's obviously let's face it, it's over. But the one thing that I do want to see, and the one thing that I will hold Sherelle Parker accountable for, is she has made a very strong pitch to clean up the city when it comes to crime. She says she's going to be a lot tougher on crime, and this lawlessness is not going to exist under her watch. So that is the one thing I think. And look, Republicans, we in this city outnumbered 7-1. Beggars can't be choosers. If this is the best of the bunch, so be it. But I think in a city that is beleaguered and emblazoned with just unbelievable lawlessness and crime, let's see if she actually follows through with her words. I don't know that she will, but I would love to be wrong on that front. And then, of course, we have a lot of stuff going on at the county level in Bucks County, Chester County, all the way out towards Pittsburgh in Allegheny County. But I would say the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is the Central Bucks School District and everything going on at the school board level. Because to me, if we're looking at crime, well, I'll put it this way. From a national perspective, when it comes to next year, we're all about the economy and then things like crime, inflation, and the border. But at the grassroots level, I don't know that there's anything bigger than parental rights. And it's wild that it's come down to this, but we're looking at these school board battles, and we have people that want to try to tell you fairy tales and anti-science, and I can be this even though biologically you really can't. And it's coming down to things like men in women's locker rooms, men in women's sports, boys going in the girls' bathroom, a book that should be banned or not banned within a library, and what flags, or if any flags, should be posted and hung in a school classroom. Like, I never really thought, and maybe schools were political when I was in school, and I just was too naive and oblivious to realize it as a 12-year-old or a 12th grader. I just never thought that these and to me, it's common sense, right? Like, one thing I like about Glenn Youngkin in Virginia is he says that his stances are just pro-common sense stances. So when we see all this school board battle stuff, it's just common sense to me, right? Like, my daughter should not have to worry about a boy being in the bathroom. If my daughter competes in a sport, she joined that sport to compete against other females. Yet this has become really almost an experimental battleground, so to speak, Dawn, where I think if you pay attention to what happens in Central Bucks, as well as any other school board race, I think this is a big indicator of what is going to come of schools in the next 4 or 5 years. Like, these victories really do matter, whether the Dems get what they want and maybe make a county that was once red purple, or a county that is purple more blue. And I'm only 4 or 5 miles away from the Bucks County school line border, and I'll be paying attention to that. From a Pennsylvania standpoint, probably nothing more important for me personally than watching that.
Yeah, I find it interesting that Bucks County especially is getting national media coverage.
Oh, yeah, Wall Street Journal, you name it.
Yeah, Wall Street, MSNBC, so they're all watching it. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, they all did win Bucks County, but by that slim margin, less than 5%.
Mm-hmm.
And so traditionally these suburbs, Bucks County, Montgomery County, Delaware County, Chester County, used to be all red surrounding Philadelphia. Not so much anymore. I mean, look at Delco. Remember the days of Kurt Weldon, for example. So you think about now what's happening is so many people, look at what you just talked about, Nick Kayal, David O saying, I'm going to stay in Philadelphia. Guess what? Most people did not.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost a lot of population. And where did people go? Right outside. And so that's why we see this now, these purple counties. But I think you're right. This whole situation with this, I had most of the Central Bucks School Board, a lot of the candidates, I just said call in. Anybody could call in, Democrats, Republicans. So I know Arthur Martino among them, Tony Arjono called in, as well as Dana Hunter called in. So, and I know Anthony Dorenzo's posting all that, but I had a bunch of those school board candidates, up, and Dana Hunter's obviously the president. But calling in, it's just really like, hey, we're just parents. We want to keep the politics out of school.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. We have learning loss. I mean, they don't want to talk about the politics, don't think the politics should be in there.
Yep.
And it's gotten nasty.
Yeah, it has. 855-839-1210 if you want to jump in on the conversation. We'll come back and work our way towards what's on the cut sheet. A very busy day yesterday, a very contentious day in court for Donald Trump, both with Trump, the judge, and also his attorney. We will get to that as we continue. But I'm continuing my partnership and relationship with the Piazza Auto Group. And if you've yet to establish a relationship with them, now's a really good time. And one of the things I love the most about the Piazza Auto Group is they want to really keep me in the loop every couple of months with all of their extensive inventory that they have and all the new little toys and gadgets and all the new electronic features on some of their incredible vehicles. And it is incredible. It's incredible that they have 35 locations. It's incredible that they offer 17 different brands. And just about 10 days ago, I stopped out at the Piazza Hyundai of Westchester location on Route 202, and I was introduced to an electric vehicle. And I looked at it and I was like, EV, all right, let me see what you have. And it was the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5. And I was blown away by how powerful this vehicle is. It's fully electric and it's 320 horsepower. Stronger than my gas-powered Honda Ridgeline truck. And it's got a 300-mile range with it. And they want to give you another great offer. You can take advantage of a complimentary home charger and up to a $600 installation credit with a purchase or a lease. So whether you're buying or leasing, you can take advantage of this at the Piazza Hyundai of Westchester and Pottstown locations, or just go online right now, right before we get to the cut sheet. Check them out. Check out the Hyundai Ioniq 5. really beautiful, cool vehicle. PiazzaAutoGroup.com.
Hi, this is Norman the Floorman from Norman Carpet. If I got 50 cents for every math test I failed, I'd have $6.30. No kidding, folks. Whether you need carpet for your home or business, whether it's your boardroom, bedroom, or investment property, I've got just the thing at half price. Whether you visit my showroom on Lancaster Avenue in Bryn Mawr or my warehouse in Conshohocken, you'll save big. Call me at 1-800-220-RUGS. That's Norman Carpet, 1-800-220-RUGS, or visit us at normancarpet.net.
Introducing new AmeriHealth Medicare Advantage plans for New Jersey. The Medicare annual enrollment period runs through December 7th. Now is the perfect time to think about the benefits you need in a Medicare Advantage plan. AmeriHealth has helped protect New Jersey residents for nearly 30 years. It's a great feeling to have a health plan that takes care of you. From a company you trust. A health plan for everyone. Get your Medicare questions answered. Visit AmeriHealthMedicare.com/2024 today.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
You got the alert this morning. Now get the whole story. Count on NBC 10 News today.
It's more than just headlines. It's news to get you ready for your day.
If you need motivation, here we go. We've got your playbook.
The most accurate hour-by-hour weather forecasts.
Traffic info to get you there and back easier. It's all you need to get up, get ahead, and stay ahead.
Make your mornings count with NBC 10 News today. Count on it.
Comedian Joe Conklin.
Back here at the Phillies wrap-up in front of a very despondent crowd here, L.A.
I see John Ritchie talking to some ladies at the bar doing his best Nick Castellanos impression.
How's that, L.A.?
He just struck out 4 times.
Ritchie dancing on his own again.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at the Sellersville Theater Saturday, November 18th. For 2 shows, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
Don't miss Dr. Marianne Ritchie, your radio doctor, Saturday afternoons at 5. Tune in for accurate information so you can make the right medical decisions. Your radio doctor, Dr. Marianne Ritchie, Saturday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
Philadelphia will be electing its 100th mayor this election day. An exonerated member of the Central Park Five is poised to win a seat on the New York City Council. A UN official says the average Palestinian in Gaza is living on 2 pieces of bread a day. Gaza's health ministry says over 10,000 people in Gaza have been killed since October 7th.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more. Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
At Simply Safe, our 24/7 lifeguard protection helps stop crime in real time. Because during a break-in, every second counts. And these days, every dollar counts. Right now, get 50% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. It's U.S. News and World Report's Best Home Security of 2023. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
The future of joint pain relief is right here in the Philadelphia region. QC Kinetics, Advanced Regenerative Medicine. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. If you've been told that more steroids or surgery are your only options, not so fast. Get a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very core of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your joint, which repairs and restores that damaged tissue. Imagine living life, especially this fall, with no more pain in your knees, your aching shoulder, your back, your hips. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Just call the local medical professionals, get a free consultation. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000. Just call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Here's retirement phase expert Phil Cannella with today's report.
Good news. Baby boomers are living longer than ever before and are placing a priority on being happy and healthy. Unfortunately, many lack the vital part of healthcare planning, long-term care. Sobering statistics from the government show that close to 70% of all baby boomers will use a long-term care facility for an average of 3 years at a cost of over $300,000. Not planning for long-term care is denying yourself of a comfortable transition in the final stages of your life and expenses that will impoverish most estates. Fortunately, in recent years, programs have become available where long-term care coverage can be obtained without ever paying an annual premium. Thereby, if you don't use it, you didn't lose it. It's called asset-based long-term care. Here's how it works. By leveraging an asset, such as a savings account or an investment account, when long-term care is needed, the asset chosen to be leveraged will balloon to more than 3 times the original asset value. For example, a husband and wife at 65 years of age transfers $100,000 of their investment account into asset-based long-term care. Upon receipt of the transfer, that $100,000 immediately becomes, from day one, $460,000 of long-term care benefit for both husband and wife when needed. For individuals, the $100,000 would balloon into $550,000 from day one. Now, perhaps the most attractive part of asset-based care is receiving the care in the comforts of your own home. This is what experts call aging in place. Staying in the comforts of your own home, assuring yourself of a comfortable transition in the final stages of your life and not have to worry about impoverishing your estate. It also allows your loved ones to have more of an opportunity to visit you because you are home. However, should a need not arise for long-term care, your beneficiaries would receive the remaining contract value. Now, these types of contracts are more liberal with health conditions than traditional insurance premiums for long-term care policies. And age is a determining factor for benefits. Being proactive is important here. By taking steps now, not only will it be less expensive at your current age, but you'll also protect your surviving spouse and the estate that took you a lifetime to accrue as well.
To hear more reports that will impact your financial future, join Phil Cannella and Joanne Small this Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m. on the Crash Proof Retirement Show, only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
All right, welcome back in Kayal and Company Tuesday morning, 7:31. It's Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210 WPHT. Still ahead this morning. We've got the cut sheet coming up in about 13 minutes. Also, a lot on Joe Biden from one highly regarded individual making the suggestion that Joe should drop out to Gavin Newsom kind of laying in the weeds as we've talked about. And John Fetterman is coming out ripping Gavin Newsom for essentially trying to campaign for president without actually officially doing so. And he thinks that's a bit of a weasel move. We'll get to that. And he's also hinting at, and this is a big ad, apparently Gavin is running ads in South Carolina, which, if you read between the lines, might tell you a lot.
Yeah, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. So we'll get to that as we continue this morning. Also, a very interesting conversation that we will have towards the end of the show when it comes to crying with mommy. We'll get to that a little bit later.
It's my favorite story of
This
the
might
week.
This might tug at Dawn's heartstring a little bit.
Exactly why I want to do it.
Oh, so you want to trigger Dawn at like 9:30. All right. I wondered why you were so adamant about that story.
No, I just think it's a good story.
It is. It really is. And it's a conversation I think dads will always have with their boys. And then also what you might have named your dog if you bought a dog during the pandemic. We'll get to that story as well. But we've got some calls to get to. It's election day. The Biden administration is a disaster. We know that. And people want to talk about both at 855-839-1210. So let me try. Let's go with Ed in Delran. He's been waiting since Sunday night. Ed, you're up next on 1210. What's up,
Hey,
Ed?
I would wait a lifetime to talk to you guys.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Listen, let me tell you something. This is more of the same lawlessness that you see where people are graffitiing and defaming statues. This just goes to show, and that's why the Bite Me administration can't do anything, because they're just like all these Democratic cities who do bail reform and let the criminals out. And it just shows more of the same total nonsense. And one could dream that the legislature in New Jersey gets taken over by Republicans. God, that would be such a beautiful victory here.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would, because you would actually have people that believe in law and order and enforcing the laws that they have on the books already, correct?
Yes, and let me just give a shot to the meathead governor that we got that banned diesel car and trucks when he's not even going to be in office, and he's going to put every freaking car and truck dealership out of business in the state with his stroke of a pen.
Ed, we appreciate the call and the passion, and thank you for waiting since Sunday night. Let me get Brian in Chalfont in here. He's got some voting thoughts. Brian, good morning. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Listen, I went to go vote, and I'm in Chalfont, so Central Bucks School District, the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
My representative is not up for election this year, but the county commissioner is. I went to vote at 7:10, and already four of the 5 machines hadn't been charged overnight.
Oh,
so we do a pen ballot where you have to fill in your candidate, and then it's scanned by some type of device that I guess doesn't plug into a wall because it needs to be charged overnight. I'm floored. At 7:10, and the guy running it, I took a picture of his badge. I don't know what side he's on. Who knows? But I could tell by, I don't know, his mannerisms and the gesture cat smile. Oh, I don't know what happened. I'm thinking, my kids charge their cell phones before going to school overnight. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Unbelievable.
Now, what time did this open for you? Was it at 6 or 7 o'clock?
I believe it was 7. I showed up at 7:10.
Okay, so 10 minutes in, and we already have more technical snafus that are basically inexcusable, to be honest.
Unbelievable. I don't know what to say anymore.
I agree.
Regardless of the side you're on, the shenanigans are just there's no limit.
No, Brian, you're right, and we appreciate the call, and we can actually spend a few minutes on this because this is, again, I don't understand, and I've gone on this tangent before after the midterms from last year, and we had so many people saying, well, this machine's not working, and I had to be in this line. Like, this really should not, voting in 2023 in a advanced, civilized, world-leading nation like the United States of America should not be difficult. And you're right. If these are things that need to be charged and charged overnight and take, 6 hours to get a full charge, 12 hours, 2 days, 20 minutes, whatever it might be, there should not be any of this. And this is why I think, and look, I do believe that Republicans need to take advantage of the same tools that the Democrats take advantage of. But this is why I hate technology. And let's just say it's not shenanigans. Let's just say it's sheer incompetence. Or, okay, yes, it's an imperfect world and technology fails. Well, then what is wrong with just going the old school way of, so to speak, pen and paper or whatever it might be? This should not happen. And there are nations on the planet that have more succinct, wrapped up, tightly guarded elections where they get the results, they get them quickly, it runs smoothly. I'm not sure that any election operates at 100% efficiency, but what did he just say there? Four out of the 5 or 4 out of the 6 machines were already having technical issues with batteries?
And who does that hurt? So Republicans tend to vote in person. Democrats tend to vote, even though they've gotten better, but Democrats tend to have voted by mail. So it, by the nature of it, hurts Republicans.
That's correct. That's 1,000% correct.
Anybody listening, he was so smart to take pictures.
Yes.
Take photographs of your ballot, anything you can.
Yep.
Take the photos, document, like Nick always says, keep the receipts.
Keep the receipts, right? Because it's one thing to say it and claim it. You hope somebody takes your word for it, but if you have the evidence, then it becomes irrefutable and you know exactly what's going on. And he's talking, he's at the the grassroots level. School board, county commissioner type stuff. He said his representative wasn't up for re-election this year. and you have these sorts of issues. And that was Brian from Chalfont.
Why don't more people take advantage of mail-in ballots?
I don't get it.
Well, they've tried. They've tried to get Republicans to do that because of this very problem.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen if there are any delays or problems at the poll, technical problems, it always hurts Republicans.
It was the easiest thing to do. They mail you a ballot, you fill it out, you mail it back. You can check online. It said it was registered or counted or whatever. Like, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Why are we still get up, wait in line? It's like, come on. It's 2023.
Yeah, I mean,
get with it.
There's the convenience element, and I'm trying to think, like, trying to be let me be conspiratorial in what maybe Republicans think is that, okay, I get the mail-in ballot, I fill it out. How do I know that it actually gets back to? And I'm not saying that's the way I think.
Well, how do you know when you pull
what goes through their
How
mind.
do you know when you pull the lever? It's like you don't know. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like it's the same thing. This is just easier.
It is.
Well, you can drop the ballot off physically at the post office if you want to mail it right at your local post office.
And look, they
have drop boxes too.
Yeah,
that's true. I've always been somebody that actually enjoys going in public and doing it myself. Like I said this last week on the show, I think it was Friday with you, Dawn. I said, like, I enjoy the entire process, getting out of my car, going in line. And, there's people having, like, friendly political conversations. Sometimes, like, it's, your buddy from the neighborhood or a neighbor. Or maybe you guys are on different sides politically, but you still get along and you wait. And then I just like going, like, my little church in Bluebell is where I vote. And I went up last year during the midterms, and little old lady sitting there at the desk, and she's like, can I see some identification? I'm like, you absolutely can, ma'am. She's sitting there having her black coffee. I love the whole thing. I love all of it. But if there's other options available to make it more convenient for you, do it. And what's also one of the things that we learned after the midterms last year when we had Athan Kutsarumbas on, which, by the way, we should probably get him on in the next week or so following all these results, because he'll have some good analysis and some data. He said, last year, like 5 o'clock came and Republicans just stopped showing up. They didn't come out. They didn't vote. The polling locations were completely dead. Like, get out of school, get out of work, get your kid from practice, go vote. That didn't happen last year in the fall of 2022 for Republicans. So I wonder if that will be the same theme and the same trend again here in, quote, an off-election year. So we will see.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. I get it. Okay, if you wanted to go stand in line and talk to the people at the
I didn't talk to anybody. I just
place.
observe all the conversations.
And it's fine. Like Tracy writes, the Postal Service is corrupt. They support Democrats. Like I don't know what to say. If you live this life where everything is like, well, I can't do this because of this. I can't do this because of this. It's like, okay, then live your life the way you live it.
But then also don't be miserable when the elections come out and the results come in and you didn't get what you were hoping for, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I just, it's never been easier this day and age to vote.
You
know what I mean? Like, just.
Yeah. My biggest concern, beyond, the corruption and all the stuff that is very suspicious, is my big fear is that what we saw last November was a learning experience on many levels, from candidates to the right messaging to taking advantage of all the things that are available to you, from never having a guy like Mastriano again to never having a guy like Oz again, to getting the right message, to not losing to people like Fetterman or Shapiro, or not showing up or not doing, like, did Republicans learn a lesson? Because to me, there's nothing more infuriating when the writing is on the wall, you know the mistakes that were made and how to correct them, and then you still don't correct them. That is the thing that, and I am like, what this really is? I'm gonna give you a sports analogy. This will make people's heads explode.
Oh no!
But it's spot on. This is like complaining that the referees had the fix in for you, and oh my God, the Cowboys got 16 penalty flags in their favor, and the Eagles only had 5. Well, then play better. Okay, we can go back and look at all the mistakes and say, okay, well, they didn't do this, they didn't do that right. Get it right. As Dawn always says, get it together. And this is not necessarily all about ripping Republican voters that don't take advantage of things. This is also the Republican politicians that we are choosing to send out to represent us, the people. Like, you saw, I mean, if you can't beat Democrats in 2022, 2023, and 2024, with all of their failed policies and all of their incompetent politicians. I'm telling you, and I've said this for weeks on the show, the Democrats have never been more weak in their life as a party. And if you can't beat this group of incompetent, aging, elderly boobs, I don't know when you ever will. And obviously I'm generalizing with the Fettermans and the Feinsteins and the Bidens of the world, but this goes to every level, state level, local level.
But yet they keep winning.
I know.
Like what?
That's what's infuriating. That's what drives me up a wall. Because I don't think they could be any worse than they are right now. So if they do get their act together and get away from all the woke progressive nonsense, well, then what are you going to do? Because if they get away from the woke stuff and all the left-wing ideology, I mean.
Also, you have to be. I know you guys are both looking at the school board races, which I think is very important too. But I said yesterday, and I truly believe this, that just because you vote one way for a school board does not mean you're voting that same way for, everybody talks about the PA Supreme Court. That doesn't mean you're voting the same way for that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
Well, I think that's what Congressman Bob Brady was worried about in Philadelphia. With the Republicans and so much advertisement for Drew Murray and Jim Hasher, because then you'd have this block of individuals who don't want the Working Family Party, but then they're energized and revved up to come out and get the vote, and they vote for all the other state elections and vote R.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why part of the reason Bob Brady was very worried about all these Democrats endorsing the Working Family Party, far left progressive, candidates that nobody supports.
Mm-hmm.
To your point. So in other words, what they're worried about is that Republicans are energized and Democrats are not.
Let's hope that plays out that way. Let me grab one more call and then we'll get to the cut sheet. John is in Glenmore. He's got a voting experience from today. John, go right ahead, sir.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking the call.
Sure.
Hey, here's my take on elections. When COVID hit and things were shut down, mail-in votes, hey, it's a great secondary way of getting the vote out. But after the threat's over, you get up off your duff, you go to the polls. It's a civic duty. I witnessed in Iraq in 2009 when I was with the provincial reconstruction team in the Army working for the Department of State, how citizens there went out in droves to vote regardless of the threat that was available. So, you don't have civic clubs anymore like the Elks, the Moose, and all that. All we have now is election day. Go out, see your neighbor. It doesn't matter what party they are. But go to the polls and meet your neighbor and do a civic duty. Don't isolate yourself from home and do the mail-in unless it's necessary. That's my take.
Yeah, I got you, John. Thank you very much, and we appreciate the call.
Look, I'm the first one, and I've been on record saying on this show that I think that the voting age should be like 30 because people 18 don't know what the hell they're talking about or voting about. And I do think that voting should be, you should have to put an effort into it. But I'm just saying for the convenience of it, I do enjoy having to. Having the option to do a mail-in ballot. And if you don't trust the government, like everybody's like, we don't trust the government. Okay, great. I don't trust the government either. But to that caller earlier who said voting machines were down because they didn't charge them in, how do you know that, your vote will be counted there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you have to have some sort of faith in some sort of system because you can say that about all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Even if you go to your polling places, like how do you know your vote's counted? How do you know, it's just for this. If you're going to vote, you have to just, have a wing and a prayer.
I'm just very much old school in a lot of a lot of different modalities of operation. Like I like going to vote in person. I like having cable over streaming. I like getting the newspaper delivered as opposed to reading a digital copy. And even filling out stuff for the doctor's office, like nowadays, like I got to do some blood work coming up on Thursday. I got my text with like a check-in and I got to fill out this questionnaire. I'm like, can't I just do this? Whatever happened to just showing up 15 minutes early and filling out the form in person? Like, I know everything is about convenience and technology, and I'm not against that in any regard because I do take advantage of a lot of it. But there's other stuff like voting. I just personally enjoy the experience.
Me too.
I just do.
Jay Marr on the YouTube chat writes, he's a truck driver. He starts at 4. He starts at 4 a.m.
Wow, we start at 6.
And never know if I'll get stuck out on the road. I like the mail-in. It works for me.
Oh, that's good.
There you go.
That's a good one.
All right.
I just think that anything that gets you there, that ensures that you're going to vote, I think is a good thing. Whether it's you going in person. I have nothing against people going in person.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go in person, fine. I'm just saying I like the convenience of having it mailed to my house, filling it out, and putting it in my mailbox.
Plus, you like staying at home and avoiding the public.
Absolutely.
So there's an advantage for you.
The less I have to see of humans, the better.
7:48. It's a Tuesday morning, and it's time for What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Tuesday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where they have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out at Route 70 in Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Yes, let's start Nick Kayal with the Trump fraud trial that was going on yesterday. He took the stand. Oof. And fireworks ensued.
Yes, they did.
Obviously, no cameras in the court, so we just have, reporting of what went on and sketch drawing. By the way, the sketch they drew of Trump looks absolutely nothing like
Nothing like him?
That
Is it low energy?
That sketch drawer should not have a job. Terrible sketch. Anyway, after he testified, he came out and talked to reporters. This was mid-afternoon yesterday, and this is what he said. I'm going to start with cut 4 here. Phil, go.
I think it went very well. I think you were there and you listened and you see what scam this is. This is a case that should have never been brought. It's a case that should be dismissed immediately. The fraud was on behalf of the court. The court was the fraudster in this case. They made references to assets that were very valuable, and they said they had no idea. They had no idea what the numbers were when they said $18 million for Mar-a-Lago, and it's 50 to 100 times that amount by any estimation. It's a terrible thing that's happened here. We're taking days and days and weeks, and it goes on, and then you look at the outside world and what's happening. But of course, they're getting their wish because I don't have to be here for the most part, but I sort of do have to be here because I want to be here because it's a scam. And this is a case that should have never been brought, and it's a case that now should be dismissed. Everybody saw what happened today. Everybody saw what happened with their star witness who admitted that I never told him what he originally said. I did. He admitted that he lied, and he has absolutely no credibility whatsoever. That's their only witness. That's their only witness. And I think you saw what I had to say today, and it was very conclusive. Everything we did was absolutely right. To think that we're being sued and spending all this time and money, and you have people being killed all over the world, that this country could stop. With inflation and all of the other problems that this country has, I think it's a disgrace. And when you look at the numbers, the poll numbers that came out today from the New York Times and CBS, I'm sure the Times was not too happy. But people are sick and tired of what's happening. This is I think it's a very sad day for America. But anyway, this is a case that should have never been brought, and it's a case that should be immediately dismissed. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So kind of interesting when you look at some of the reports that were coming out as to what actually played out in that courtroom. Now, right there, he's outside of the courtroom. He's speaking to the media. He talks about how much of a disgrace this is, the shoddy witness, the evidence, and the prosecution or the state, so to speak. Their key witness is very tainted. But apparently he was not answering the questions in court. And I think this is where it's brilliant, but it's also maybe a reason to think about the upcoming cases, whether it's January 6th, Washington, D.C., whether it's Fulton County, Atlanta, or Mar-a-Lago in Florida with the documents case. But let me start with the brilliant part. So he apparently started to pull out like a little note card or a letter that he wanted to read in response to who was, questioning him on the stand. And the judge, as Dawn would say, Engemoron, Judge Engeron, basically told him that can't happen, and Trump thought that was bogus. And then the judge says, and this is where I think this judge, not to the extent that the AG, Letitia James, has in for Trump, but the judge says, you can attack me, you can do whatever you want, but answer the question. Look, Trump's not going to sit there and just answer the question directly. He's going to do what a politician does. He's going to go up there and try to do spin and pivots, and I think that's the smart part about it. But I think moving forward, and look, this would just be legal advice, and Trump could say, go pound sand, attorney X, I'm going to take the stand. I don't know that I would put him on the stand in other upcoming, like this is a civil case, and I know this is big for the Trump brand, the family, their ability to earn income, their livelihoods, to operate within the state of New York, so it matters. But I think in other cases moving forward, I don't know that I would put him on the stand, because as brilliant as he is, you can never go wrong with pleading the fifth and just letting your lawyers do the work. Like O.J. Simpson, right? O.J. Simpson never took the stand. Now, Trump is way more intelligent than O.J. Simpson, but I don't think that would backfire on him. And I'm not saying it backfired yesterday. I think what he did yesterday was fine, because I think these two people, Engeron and James, kind of have it in for him. But that was kind of the observation I had yesterday as I was watching some of these reporters pretty much tweeting out the play-by-play, so to speak, once they left the courtroom.
Yeah, it's so true. It's just, this is all going to be appealed. I think it'll ultimately be overturned. But this judge, we knew.
You think this is going to be overturned?
Yeah.
By who?
By the Supreme Court. It'll go all the way up to the Supreme Court.
I disagree with that. But
I don't know that
I think it could go because they've on civil rights, on the fact that the gag orders, on the fact that this judge, even before the whole thing even started, the judge, without even hearing all the evidence from the defense, made huge rulings before it even started. I mean, so this judge is very biased.
I don't know, and I think I have a good feel on gauging the public and what they're interested in. I think when you look at all the cases and all the indictments, you've got two in New York with Alvin Bragg and then Letitia James. You've got Atlanta, Washington, and Miami. The two New York cases, because they are civil in nature, they don't move the needle for me.
Let me ask you a question that what you just said about this judge being biased, and I don't disagree with you because we've discussed on this show at length him, hamming it up for the camera. Like there's
That's
no
when
question.
I knew day one.
There's no question that this judge, in my opinion, is an attention whore. That's just my opinion.
He's Lance-Itoing it.
But to the same point that we said about how Trump can never get a fair jury because of nobody does not have an opinion on Donald Trump.
That's correct.
How can you also then not have a judge with some sort of bias, whether he loves him or hates him?
Mm-hmm. I think it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing with the prosecutors. There's nobody that can go into any Trump case, whether it's defense attorneys, prosecutors, judges, attorney generals. Everybody has an agenda here on any case, and everybody has an opinion already made up, right? Like every Trump supporter believes every judge and every prosecutor has a vendetta against him. And on the other side, it's like, well, I don't care if there's evidence or not. I just want to see Trump go down. Like it's complete. The word objectivity does not exist in any court case involving Donald Trump, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, first of all, Letitia James campaigned on this. I'm going to get Trump, so they have that. Then you have, even before the thing goes to trial, the judge even says, I have enough evidence, and that's why he was widely criticized, because the defense attorney said, you're not even going to listen to these arguments, didn't even want to hear from them, and made some critical rulings before the trial starts. So on those two counts, the whole thing, the premise, before they even started, was unconstitutional. It was wrong.
Yep. 855-839-1210. We'll continue with the cut sheet in a moment. But Karen's in Delco. She's got some concerns with mail-in balloting, and she disagrees with Greg Stocker. Karen, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Nick. I'm well, thank you. And I do. Sorry, Greg. I disagree with you. I'm a longtime listener to 1210. But Yeah, I've been a poll watcher in numerous counties, and a year ago I was a poll watcher in Delco. And we went through training here, which was extensive and like several hours and very, very good. Now, I am not the expert on this, but I really thought the training was excellent and could put you in touch with the people who taught it. But I think the potential for fraud with mail-in ballots is greater from what I saw with the training, and that is my hesitation. Plus, I agree with you, Nick. I love going to the polls. I never miss. So it's a fun thing to do, but people know you then. But the fact that potential for fraud is greater. I mean, too many places where those ballots can get lost, can get sliced when they're being taken out of the mail-in envelopes, cannot have oversight by poll watchers, especially here in Delco, because often they don't make the setup easy for the poll watchers to see if they have to sometimes rewrite a ballot because it got messed up in opening or something went wrong with it, and there's not enough oversight. They don't let you be near enough to see that it's being done correctly. So, in my opinion, way too much potential for fraud with mail-in ballots.
All right, Karen, we appreciate the call, and thank you very much for checking in as we continue on the cut sheet.
Trump's attorney, Elena Haba? How do you say her last name?
I've been trying to figure out that name for like a year now.
By the way,
I think it's Elena Haba.
Why does she look like Melania?
Mm-hmm.
Question.
Well, she does?
I mean, she looks like a younger version of Melania.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I kind of thought she looks a little bit more like Bobert.
I don't think she looks anything like Melania.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Let me ask you this question real quick.
Yeah.
Because we know that everybody likes to use Donald Trump, right? Do you think these attorneys use Trump just to send their career into an upward trajectory?
Or downward trajectory, as Sidney Powell and all of the other ones did, Rudy Giuliani.
I got to tell you, if I was an attorney and I had the chance to represent Trump, I think I would. I really would. I think it would put. I think it puts you on the map. You might not. You're certainly not going to be. Make a lot of friends. But I think I would. And by the way, I'm looking at it. Yeah, she doesn't look like Melania.
Yeah, I think she does.
No.
Well, she grew out her hair, and that's why everybody's commenting.
I'm going to put the video. We're going to play the video. If you want to see it, go to YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT.
This is the content I wanted to
She's a Jersey girl. She lives in New Jersey.
I think she's hot.
I didn't say she wasn't. I just said why it's just odd to me that she looks a lot like Melania. That's all I'm saying.
She's an attorney. She's a former fashion executive, by the way.
Yeah, you can tell she's got fashion. I like it.
All right, I'm going to start with cut 7 here.
Fashion executive.
The hell does that mean?
She worked for, she worked for a fashion company and was an executive and lawyer for them.
Lena Haba, cut 7, Phil, go.
I'm not here to hear what he has to say. Then why exactly am I being paid as an attorney, and why exactly are taxpayer dollars being used in this courtroom? The answer is very clear. Because Miss James wants to stand right here like she did this morning and call my client a liar.
Call my client a liar. Okay.
So apparently she took issue with the way she does. Look at it. Come on. You cannot tell me she does not look like Melania in that video. Come on.
I guess you could.
Oh my God.
She has long hair. She really doesn't look like her, Greg.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
She has long. She grew her hair out long.
You're both high.
No, we're not. She doesn't look like Melania.
She looks like a younger, hotter Melania.
We should actually get a photo. We should do a little side-by-side if we can. I don't know if we have the technology in the back right now, but do a side-by-side, get a still photo of Haba and a still photo of Melania, and the audience, we'll put them in box 3 and 4. By the way, Haba's 39 years old, same age as me. So I technically have a chance.
Wow, what a fact that is. Thanks.
Because the audience needed to know that. That's the kind of commentary I give them.
All right, one more from her.
Attractive white woman. Melania has blue eyes. This woman has big brown eyes.
Yeah.
I mean.
Dark eyes are underrated, by the way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, she's beautiful. I just don't think she looks like Melania.
Yeah. By the way, there is a if you talk about to actually comment on what Haba said there, Letitia James, there's definitely a video out there going around where she has, as a montage of her campaign messaging, so to speak, at certain different rallies or gatherings, and she is very vocal about her disdain for Trump. She also was very vocal about, I want to say, the Republican Party, where she used the words and the slogan and the phrase, it's too male, it's too pale, and it's too stale. So that when we talk about a jury or a prosecutor or a judge that we feel already has an agenda, okay, Letitia James there, if you're saying, when you're campaigning to become the Attorney General and you're saying it's too male, it's too pale, and it's too stale, and then I see Judge Engeron smiling for the camera on day one, I already know that this court is a charade.
No Lib on YouTube wins the YouTube chats right now. He says, Greg, you look like Melania with the long hair. No Lib, you win, my friend. You win, my friend. All right, one more on her. She was discussing about how the judge, she believes, was talking down to her. Cut 8. Go.
You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear. I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here. And you know what? You shouldn't either.
You should be careful about
calling
out that judge.
I'm
just saying.
I don't know the context of it. I haven't seen it, but I mean, we do have knowledge of judges that slam things and get angry.
She looks like Melania, guys. I'm sorry, she does.
But she's married, happily married. Got a huge that diamond on her finger looks like about 7 carats, by the way. But married, 3 kids, and but I think she's great. And there's just a little tinge when she says, I don't accept that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of that is saying that as a female,
strong woman.
But what she's doing, and this is clever, is she is suggesting. I don't suggest that. In other words, men in my life don't speak to me that way. This judge, there's a tinge of sexism,
a gender power play here, so to speak.
That the judge is speaking that way because there's a female attorney sitting there, and there's a hint of she's just bringing that subtlety to the table, and so that's her little spank at Engemoron.
I love that, by the way. I will say this from what because again, there's no video, there's no audio of this. We only get terrible sketch drawings. From everything that you've gathered so far, this is the perfect example of don't judge a book by its cover, because Engeron looks like this frail legal scholar dorky guy who hasn't been out in the sun in 10 years. But from everything we gather so far, he's a hothead. Like he just, he gets really fired up in the court. And I don't know if it's because it's Trump. I don't know if this is just the way he presides over his cases. But I think we've seen enough of a track record to suggest so far that this guy does have a short fuse.
By the way, thank you to the boys in the back there, Phil and Anthony, for putting up this poll. Does Hava look like Melania? If you go to YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WB. Look, I'm not going to sit here and, talk about the nuance of the case. I want to know if this chick looks like Melania. I think she does.
I'm done talking about the nuance, too.
Pull up her bio at her. She is a managing partner at her law firm, Haba Medea.
Trump has a type. And he probably looked at her and said, yeah, let's make her my lawyer.
Yeah. You know what his type is? His type is strong, smart individuals working for him. And, does she fit the bill? Sure, because she's good.
Like Michael Cohen, like Rudy Giuliani, I'm just asking. Bill Barr. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, if that's his type, are all of them strong guys or strong individuals?
Rudy Giuliani is iconic. I mean, maybe he's slipping nowadays, but and Bill Barr, I think both Rudy and Bill Barr, I think, many would say. I mean, Rudy Giuliani turned around. He's iconic in New York. He turned around New York City.
I think Trump, to be an attorney for Trump, he wants somebody that's going to go down with the ship, somebody that will be loyal, somebody that will be a fierce advocate for him in the courtroom.
Right now, the no's are winning at 62%. So go over to YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHD, and vote. Also, hit the like button. Speaking of women who do not look like Melania.
Well, you're really infatuated with it.
Letitia James, who does not look like Melania.
Yeah, that
There's-
could be,
I am not going to even put that out there. She also spoke yesterday in front of the press, and she said this. Cut to Phil, go.
We heard from Donald Trump in our case against him, other defendants, and the Trump organization. He rambled, he hurled insults, but we expected that. At the end of the day, the documentary evidence demonstrated that, in fact, he falsely inflated his assets to basically enrich himself and his family. He continued to persistently engage in fraud. The numbers don't lie. And Mr. Trump obviously can engage in all of these distractions, and that exactly what he did, what he committed on the stand today, engaging in distractions and engaging in name calling. But I will not be bullied. I will not be harassed. This case will go on. We look forward to hearing the testimony of Ivanka Trump on Wednesday, and then we plan on closing our case. And then there will be some motions on Thursday. And then the defense will present their case in chief. Justice will prevail. And it's important that all of you understand that we have already been victorious in our motion for summary judgment. And now we look forward to disgorgement and to the remaining counts in our action against Donald Trump and his repeated and consistent fraud against the citizens of the great state of New York.
Well, you think she's going to vote for Trump in 2024? My guess is
Where's the
not.
victim?
Yeah, that's correct.
Where's the victim here?
Yeah, I know. She's
was
saying
bullied and harassed.
Well, no,
too.
she's saying he defrauded the people of New York State, but like that's not real.
Yeah, let's not talk about who's defrauding people of money when taxpayer dollars go into this charade.
Dawn is 100% right. You need victims.
Yes.
Who are the victims?
1,000%.
And in the paperwork, and they pointed this out in court, and I think this is clutch. In the paperwork, there are all kinds of statements to when they're estimating, when they give their packet to give whatever their guesstimates of what the value of everything is for their insurance, for a loan, etc. It says in there, we urge you as the banking institution to do your due diligence, do your homework, do your research.
Yep.
And so every one of these institutions, I mean, everybody they've called has testified. Say, yep, we got paid back. Yep, we profited. So where's the victim in all of this?
And that's correct. And also with the courtroom dynamic, I mean, this is nothing new. I mean, did you expect Donald Trump not to politic while he's on the stand, not to put on a performance and a production?
Well, this whole thing's a performance.
Of course it is. I mean, this is going on in all sorts of high-profile cases. I love to always go back to, the O.J. Simpson case. I mean, Johnny Cochran and the defense team, they put on all sorts of theatrics. The bottom line is the legal team that Trump has surrounded himself with, their goal is obviously to win. And it's not to play necessarily by the way Letitia James expects the proceeding to go.
By the way, what they're claiming Mar-a-Lago is worth is, meaning not the Trump side, but the Letitia James side, what they're claiming it's worth is laughable.
Well, yes, 18 million.
It's completely laughable.
Yeah,
that real estate alone,
wow.
that zip code alone.
Yes,
there was a house that was not even a quarter of the size right next to it, or right around there, that went for like $60 million or something like that. So
there's just no way that Mar-a-Lago, if you've seen the outside photos or all the upgrades or all the amenities to it, there in this day and age with astronomical real estate prices. There's no way that could be less than. So they're saying 18 million, I believe. I would say that the bare minimum that place is worth is 35, 40 million. So I don't,
And because of, and to your point about this judge in this case, and Goron, being media conscious, because it went viral and everybody ripped him and Letitia James for even suggesting that. He actually came out in court and said, well, I was, when I referred to that, I was agreeing with that because I was saying something about tax records. Mm-hmm. So he's very aware of the fact that he looked like an idiot in the media and even was trying to walk it back. I think that's relevant.
Okay.
But that summary judgment that she referred to, to make that ruling before even allowing the defense attorneys to lay out their case, I just think the whole thing will ultimately be thrown out on appeal.
Because he's a bad judge.
He has shown his bias.
Yeah.
He made rulings without evidence, without even allowing Trump to even make the case. And there are multiple, I think, avenues where they will win on appeal.
And I don't know which case will actually reach closure and be sealed, delivered, and finalized and done before the election. But whatever case it ends up being, and let's say it's this one, if this gets dismissed or he's found not guilty, or if it's any sort of victory for Trump, this will create more of a snowball effect of support for Trump, where people will say, okay, see, he already won that one, so I believe he's going to win 2 of the next 3 or 3 of the next 4 or all 4 coming ones or all 3, and you're going to have people saying the rest of them are all a charade as well. I think it's very important for him to emerge victorious. If any of them, get finished before the election, he picks up a win early on. I think that's monumental for his momentum.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, and here's the thing: no matter you might not like the fact that Trump is brash and he's fighting for his family's business that he worked very hard to build. So unlike many pundits and many politicians who, let's say, in the financial world have never really built anything, even those hedge fund folks, who bet against America and bet against business. Trump actually built buildings. He actually employed people. He actually did the work. And that is something that he's proud of and he fought for. So the fact that he's furious that they're trying to not only fine him, but as well ban his family from doing business in his home state of New York, I just think this is outrageous. And I think the judge, even to my recollection, basically before the trial even started, essentially told Trump, you've already lost the case.
Yeah.
You're going to end up paying this money. I mean, for a judge to just put that out there beforehand, to show his bias like that, that's outrageous.
Yes. Because the reality is the only thing that should ever matter in a court are the facts, and the facts, whether you're an attorney or a judge. And yet that seems to be one of the least discussed thing here is the facts, which, oh, by the way, Letitia James, key witness, is shoddy at best. So there you go. Let me grab Jake real quick as we continue with the cut sheet. He's in Langhorne and had some voting experiences today. Jake, what's going on, pal?
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going?
Doing well.
So I went to my polling place this morning, and as soon as I walked in, I had my license in my hand, just like I always do. And I've been in the area since 2015, in the same neighborhood. I walked in, they had some pieces of paper there, like, oh, just write your name on there, and then head to your, where part of the neighborhood you live in. And said, oh, okay. And they said, so it's easier for them to understand, to look you up. And I'm like, oh, well, is my license easier? So I hand them the piece of paper, and I have my license, and I said, here you go. And I have terrible handwriting. Hand them the piece of paper, and they keep spelling my name wrong, and they can't find me, and keep spelling my name wrong. And I eat that. And I'm like, wouldn't it just be easier just to look me up with my name and address? Finally, they found me. And, address is correct, and, signature and everything like that. And I went and voted, but it just had me thinking, it's like, what? Like, I'm not sure of what the voter ID laws are in Pennsylvania, but I just thought it was odd that, if, it's easier for them to look off of somebody's terrible handwriting and get their name. Like, it just felt like it seemed very odd that, like, wouldn't it be easier to just, like, hand your license? Oh, yeah, that's you? Okay, there you go. Sign here. Go over there and vote.
It doesn't make sense that they would value your name that you write on a piece of paper more than an official document such as a license, right?
Right. I mean, I could have sent my my brother-in-law. I could have sent my brother-in-law there and say, go sign, go vote for me.
Yeah, you could have said your name is Bob Smith, wrote Bob Smith down. I mean, why would you not? If somebody's got their license, remember, we talked a lot about this during last year about how asking for identification was somehow like infringing upon people. And I'm thinking, and we had these conversations. So The left wants to put up the argument that asking for ID, I believe they even tried to coin it as racist, yet you need ID to buy cigarettes, you need ID to buy alcohol, you need ID to play the lottery, you need
buy
ID
Sudafed.
to buy Sudafed, to go into a casino if security says, can I see your ID? Yet when we're talking about voting in elections, that's a hassle, that's a stink. We're going to cause a ruckus over asking for identification? What? You need an ID to buy a gun, all sorts of stuff. I don't understand why proving your identity is such an issue, but
Ron DeSantis, he's still in the race. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
DeSantis.
He was on with Sean Hannity last night. Hannity asked him why Trump has such a large lead over him despite 4 indictments. I mean, it's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, was his answer. Cut 10, Phil, go.
Let me look at the polls and let me ask you the question. Donald Trump has had a pretty large lead against all the other candidates. And in many ways, when you would think that if a presidential candidate gets indicted 4 times and arraigned 4 times, it seems to defy all conventional political gravity that every time that happens, the poll numbers go up. How do you explain that?
Well, look, I think when that Alvin Bragg case came down, I mean, it was just so transparently ridiculous. You know, to go back 7 or 8 years, clearly this would not have been brought for non-political reasons. And so I think that he got a lot of sympathy, you know, as a result of that in particular, maybe some of the others too. But I think that one really just showed just how ridiculous, quite frankly, the justice system has become when it's in the hands of leftist politicians and leftist activists. But, you know, what we're seeing here in Iowa is, you know, clearly former president's got a base of support. You also have a base of people who are definitely looking elsewhere. But then the bulk of the people are considering the former president, but also considering others. Some of them are polling for him now. Some of them are not. But there is, I think, much more fluidity than what some of the national media wants to do. And I think the people on the ground here see that there's a lot of people that just have not made a final decision. I think the majority of Iowans will probably make a final decision as we get into early January. And I'd say the same thing goes for the people of New Hampshire.
Boy, I got to tell you, if you were watching on YouTube, you can see there's a live audience behind DeSantis. If I'm DeSantis and I'm doing that interview in front of a live audience of supporters behind me with Hannity, not sure I love being asked about Trump having such a commanding lead in front of people that I have support and I'm hoping to win over and get their votes. But I think the answer is twofold. Why does Trump have such a big lead? 1, every time they indict him, he polls stronger. And 2, we've actually seen the restrictions and the limitations that DeSantis has, and we've seen his flaws. His weaknesses have been exposed, and I think once you leave a state election or a state race or you're a governor and you get a bigger audience and a bigger stage, it's not so much about your strengths that have made you successful. It's about the public finding out what maybe you struggle at, and we know what DeSantis struggles at, and it's been exposed in the last 6 months.
Yeah, so he got the endorsement of Reynolds, the governor of Iowa. I don't know how much that matters.
Yeah.
Even if you win Iowa, which you won't do. Ted Cruz won Iowa in 2016. It's not any sort of bellwether of what's going to happen in the primaries or any sort of election.
That's correct.
I'm not the biggest Sarah Silverman fan, but she had a really funny line last night. She was the host of The Daily Show, and she started off talking about the bad Biden polling numbers. And she's telling liberals not to panic, and here's the reason why. Cut 11, Phil, go.
Let's kick things off with the reason most of the people in this audience could not sleep well last night. A new poll shows Joe Biden getting trounced by Donald Trump in almost every single swing state. Don't panic. It's still too early to say Biden will definitely lose. He could absolutely die in his sleep instead.
That is a great line.
It is. It's a great line. It's very true. And much like you, I'm not a Sarah Silverman fan. I'm not a Daily Show fan either. So then now they've resorted to having to go to her as a fill-in in this never-ending carousel of guest hosts.
Yeah, she's done it before. Yeah, they're just rotating guest hosts, and I don't know. It must be working for them, or what? Why else would they keep doing it?
I don't know.
What I mean? Like, if they were tanking in the ratings, I feel like somebody would be like, all right, we need to pick a host, and now.
Well, that's true.
So,
or it could be budget reasons.
Well, I mean, you still have to pay these people to come in.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I know.
it's
he might die in his sleep.
It's a great line.
It's very true.
You talked earlier about David Axelrod, former Obama advisor, tweeting out, speaking of all these polls, saying Biden needs to drop out. Basically is what the tweet said, right, Nick?
Yeah, he said only Joe Biden can make this decision. If he continues to run, he will be the nominee of the Democratic Party. What he needs to do is decide whether that is wise and whether it's in his best interest or the country's.
So he was on CNN's morning show yesterday discussing this. He kind of tiptoes around it. So he basically says, not as strong as what he says in that tweet. Cut 3, Phil, go.
As I've said for like a couple of years now, the issue is not, for him, is not political, it's actuarial. And you can see that in this poll. I mean, there's just a lot of concern about the age issue. And that is something that I think he needs to ponder. Just do a check and say, is this the right thing to do? I believe if he does run, he will be the nominee, and I'm not encouraging people to challenge him. I think the party should fall in behind him if he's the nominee of the Democratic Party, because at the end of the day, this is not a normal race. This is a race about democracy and the state of our democracy and the survival of our democracy, and that's the threat on the other side here. And I know how deeply the president feels about that. So he just has to ask himself: is this the best path? I suspect that he will say yes, but time is fleeting here, and this is probably the last moment for him to do that check, and it's probably good if he does.
You know, I think if you got Axelrod off the record behind closed doors, he would say Joe should absolutely walk away.
Amen, brother.
There's no doubt about it. He's trying to sugarcoat that the best of his ability and be political about it. But you saw that poll in the video, if you're watching on YouTube. 71% believe Joe is too old. 39% believe Donald Trump is too old. To me, it should not be about the number itself. It's what's behind the number. And Joe Biden at 80, 81 years old, we realize the car's running, but there's really nobody behind the wheel.
Yeah.
With Trump at 76, 77 years old, the car's running. He still drives it very well. He might not drive it like he did when he was 55 years old, but there really hasn't been much of a visual or audio slipping of Donald Trump. Like, I would say Trump from now to 2020 or from 2020 to 2016, he's still probably 90, 95% of what he was, which is still very much good enough to do the job.
However, to David Axelrod's point, if Joe Biden at some point did acquiesce and say, and by the way, look at what's happening in the House Ethics Committee and all of the swirl of the Biden family business and the investigation and the bank records, et cetera. So for multiple reasons, let's say Joe Biden steps down and you get this younger, say a Gavin Newsom type, and now you have Trump next June turning 78. And so now you have that, then that does become an issue.
Yep.
Because you have somebody with energy, even though his energy is playing basketball with kids
and
he looks ridiculous.
Yep, I agree with Dawn.
But that plays well in the media, and that will sway people.
Well, he's got, as I look here, Gavin Newsom just turned 56. So he has about 21 years in his favor against Trump. So then you look at it, hey, it's the 77-year-old against the 57-year-old. To your point, Dawn, who are you going with? Well, if it's about age, and Democrats, they'll vote D for the most ridiculous of reasons. I don't think 56 should matter.
Don't let it fool you either. David Axelrod is a big player in politics. He helped get Barack Obama elected. He was Barack Obama's right-hand man, which also means that he has a relationship with Joe Biden since he was his running mate.
Was he involved with Clinton's campaigns as well?
No, I believe just
okay.
As far as I know, I think just Obama. He does have the ear of people, maybe not the president right now, but he does have the ear of people who have the ear of the president. So if he thinks something, he's expressing it to said people Barack Obama, and they may or may not be relaying it to Joe Biden.
There's no doubt that Joe has, if you were talking about a poker game, Joe has some outs here, right? Like you're playing poker, you're dead to the spade or you're dead to a 9, but you have some outs to win the hand. Joe has some outs to get out of this race. He can claim his age. He can claim his health. He can claim the investigations into him, the investigations into Hunter Biden. Nobody's going to fall for that, but he, in theory, from a presentation standpoint and a statement standpoint, he has some outs. But knowing Joe Biden and what Joe Biden has been about, and now you talk about the lining of the family pockets, and he's a lifer, and for many years he was a yes man, and he waited his turn, and he was Obama's VP for 8 years, and now he wants 8 years. If it's up to Joe, and Joe has his say, Joe's not going anywhere. I don't believe for a second that Joe will step down. I believe there's a better chance I think Joe dies in office.
So you don't think that this is...
I think the stubborn nature of Joe Biden and what
Interesting.
Not to say that he overcame things, but like this is a guy who wants every ounce of time that he can get at 1600.
I think I disagree with that.
Really?
I think that if Joe is kind of just going through the motions here right now, and if you said, Joe, step down, you're like, what? Okay, sure.
No, I think if you ask him to step down, he would say this.
The hell with that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going out.
I agree I agree with Nick because remember, what event was it? And there was a handler, one of his handlers was there, and they were saying, Mr. President, and he swiped away at that person and wanted to answer a question that clearly the staff didn't want him to. And that, we've seen that a couple of times.
Yep.
Where we've seen that little stubborn side to him and the little temper.
He's got a temper, no doubt.
Right? And so that becomes a problem. But to Greg's point, David Axelrod saying the quiet part out loud like that is very significant. Because now that also tells me that what we see when we say, the president, President Biden, he's declining. Boy, he seems a little out of it. That tells me that we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg.
With all due
right?
respect to David Axelrod, though, it doesn't take a David Axelrod to realize that Joe's not a good candidate to run for re-election, right?
But
we all have eyes and ears, and we all can look at our checkbooks and say, you know what? You add it all up, the economy, his age, his mental state, and the fact that he keeps falling physically, probably not the best that the Democrats could do,
But
right?
no, but he's not looking at that. All he's looking at is the win. That's all he's looking at, the end game.
He's a political animal.
And so the fact that he is saying that out loud, to Greg's point about, in other words, that means they're all talking behind the scenes. They have seen with their own eyes Joe Biden and those moments that we haven't seen.
Right.
And they've all decided, ruh-roh, this is not a win for the D's.
At what point, and I don't know this, maybe you two know it, I don't know, but at what point is it too late for Joe Biden to drop out? Do you know, like
spring?
No, I had looked. There are important deadlines.
Spring of 24?
Well, you have to be on the ballot.
Well, spring of 24 is when the primaries are.
Right, can't be then.
Okay, so it's got to be sooner. January? I mean, because there's no doubt that Gavin's lurking. I mean, we'll talk about the story coming up, but he's running ads in South Carolina. Why would a governor run an ad in South Carolina of California?
By the way, apropos of nothing, while Dawn is looking that up, Karen writes, please go back to the split screen so I can see all your beautiful faces. Yes, Phil, why are we not doing the split screen, the three shot? I kind of like the 3-shot.
Yeah.
Can we do the 3-shot?
I want to be socially distanced in my own box.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. We want to hit 5,000 subscribers by Thanksgiving. We're closely approaching Thanksgiving. I can't believe it. So please hit the subscribe button. We want to get to 5,000 subscribers. Also, if you're watching right now, please hit the like button.
8 more shows before Thanksgiving, by the way.
Oh, my gosh.
I can't believe that.
I can't wait.
So there's no formal national deadline to file to run for president of the United States, but we talked about the primaries. So what's the first one? January 15th?
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
So he has to officially get out of it before the holidays.
Yes.
Which, I mean, it's not going to happen. It's already November 7th. He just dumped $25 million into more ads out of his never-ending funding war chest, which, oh, by the way, I've got another thought on his political contributions that we should get into. But, I mean, you don't dump $25 million into a race that you're going to bail out of 6 weeks later, right? That wouldn't be financially prudent.
That's a spectacular and devastating scenario all at once. Look, over the holidays, if Joe and Jill gave a Christmas message, oh my, and or a Thanksgiving message, and said, you know what, after careful consideration and remember he had like skin cancer.
Mm-hmm.
He had more skin cancer removed. We're worried about his health. We're worried about Jill's health, and we're not going to run, but we endorse. Fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. And then that makes it really interesting. And then the Republicans scramble.
Yeah. I wanted to just mention this. This happened on Friday. I think we mentioned it when Greg was off, and it was just you and I, Dawn. Sam Bankman-Fried, found guilty on all charges, faces up to 110 years in prison. He was the largest donor to the Democratic Party in America. He's the second biggest donor to George Soros. All of those, and I believe there's a good breakdown on the internet with like a bar graph of where all the funds went to different people, parties, organizations. But Joe Biden got $5 million of that. That's money that is stolen. That's fraudulent funds, right? Doesn't the Biden administration kind of owe it to give that back to the people? As we talk about him just dumping out $25 million from his war chest, I just want to throw that out to the people for that little weasel, Sam Bankman-Fried, that siphoned away money from people that went to Joe Biden and other Dems. If I gave some money to crypto and I realized that was fraudulent and I didn't get that back and that's where it went, I'm just saying. I just had that thought over the weekend.
Well, that's the question. Some people have said this was like a money laundering thing because it's crypto money, and where did the money? How did this young guy who seemed,
forget the criminal and the legal stuff. Just the ethical, moral thing to do, right? I don't know. I was thinking about that over the weekend.
Progressive Democrats seem to not be able to go anywhere without being heckled.
Good.
John Fetterman was up in the Pittsburgh area.
Joe Bin.
Campaigning for one of the candidates up there. I'm sure a far left progressive. But as he was campaigning for her, he was shouted down by somebody talking about the war in Israel and the people in Gaza. This is how that sounded. This is courtesy of Action News 4 in Pittsburgh. Cut 1, Phil, go.
That's why I'm here. She's why all of you are here.
But moments later, he's interrupted by a protester.
4,000 plus dead children in Palestine, 9,000 plus dead civilians. Get off the stage. Get off the stage. I don't care. That's not what you're represent 6% of the Get off the stage.
Then Fetterman says this.
The joke is on you. I had a stroke. I can't fully understand what you're saying.
The man is eventually escorted out by police as he tells the senator to go home.
That's why I'm here. Joke's on you, pal. I think that clip is very funny. And I kind of like, Fetterman is one of the few on the far left that is very pro-Israel and is facing a lot of pushback. And while I guess we're on a delay because I'm just seeing the guy
huge delay. Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm seeing the guy getting escorted out now.
Yeah.
Look, I freedom of speech and say what you want, but eventually some of these guys that just won't let the rest of the people get on with their day at this gathering for this event. Some of these people need to be dealt with, and I thought Fetterman came off pretty good there, to be honest.
Also, Senator Cory Booker was in New Jersey campaigning for somebody, and he was shouted down by pro-Palestinian protesters on a ceasefire. This was a lot more than just one person, as was at the Fetterman rally. This is cut 5. Phil, go.
I want to call out to everybody right now, these final hours, this is what's on the ballot. We should know in New Jersey how privileged we are. There are so many places in our country right now where people want to make sure that we have. This is what makes America great. The power to protest. The power to have free speech. The power of America.
They start playing music to drown it out.
Column A, all the way. Column A, all the way. Column A, all the way. Column A, all the way.
And if you're watching on YouTube, there are people there protesting that are wearing white latex gloves that have, looks like red paint on them.
Yep.
Is that to signal you have blood on your hands?
On your hands.
Okay.
Genocide Joe.
This is crazy. This is insane.
Is Cory Booker a squad dem?
No.
I mean, he kind of is.
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, I know
No,
Cory,
he's not that.
I know Cory Bush is.
No, Cory Booker is not.
Okay.
I don't put him in the squad.
Okay.
I don't know. I think he has more in beliefs in line with Rashida Tlaib and.
Well, that's why I'm asking, because why are these people then like giving Booker a hard time if he is for a large part of the pro-Palestinian support?
I don't know if he is or not.
Okay. Because
That's the thing.
all the squad dems are. That's why I was asking.
Has anybody seen a statement on him from him on this? I haven't. So
No.
I don't know. Like, I'm sure he has. Everybody's released statements on it.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where his stand. It's just interesting to me that like they're going after some of the most progressive members of the Senate.
This is actually glorious to see. It really is. I hope they devour each other. I really do. I hope it costs them elections.
Speaking of the war that's happening right now in Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister, was on with David Muir last night on ABC News. He says that there would be a ceasefire if Hamas releases the hostages.
Okay, that's what I've been saying.
Cut 9, Phil, go.
The administration has also said now is not the time for a ceasefire. What they're proposing is a humanitarian pause. There will be no pause?
Well, there will be no ceasefire, general ceasefire in Gaza without the release of our hostages. As far as tactical little pauses, an hour here, an hour there, we've had them before. I suppose we'll check the circumstances in order to enable goods, humanitarian goods to come in, or our hostages, individual hostages to leave. But I don't think there's going to be a general ceasefire. It's not that I don't think. I think it will hamper the war effort. It'll hamper our effort to get our hostages out, because the only thing that works on these criminals in Hamas is the military pressure that we're exerting.
I love how he says we take pauses for an hour here and an hour. No, we're going to pause for dinner.
Yep.
No rockets until everybody's done eating dinner. We'll reconvene at 6:15. No, again, this logically makes no sense. And the way I tried to break it down when we first started talking about this concept of a ceasefire is, so let me get this straight. Hamas wants to come in and murder 1,400 people, then take hostages, and then say, okay, as soon as Israel and their other allies go on the offensive and strike and counter us, then we're going to call for a ceasefire? No, you don't get to be the instigator and then call for the timeout. By the way, release the hostages, and that's when the conversations can begin. But you can't have a ceasefire while they're still holding people captive. No way.
Muir also asked Netanyahu, do you believe that you should take any responsibility for any sort of intelligence failure? To Netanyahu's credit, he does. Cut 12, Phil, go.
I know Israel prides itself on its intelligence capabilities. We now know the Hamas attack had been planned for months. We saw the training videos. Of course, we saw the thousands of Hamas terrorists swarming into Israel. How did your government miss this?
It's a very good question, because the first task of government is to protect the people, and clearly we didn't live up to that. We had a big, big setback.
As Prime Minister, do you personally bear any responsibility here?
I've said that there are going to be very tough questions that are going to be asked, and I'm going to be among the first to answer them. We're not going to evade that. The responsibility of a government is to protect the people, and clearly that responsibility wasn't met.
But you know what I'm asking here, because so many Israeli officials, including the defense minister, the military intelligence chief, the military chief of staff, they've all taken some responsibility for Israel being caught off guard. They didn't say we have to wait for an investigation here. Do you believe that you should take any responsibility?
Of course. That's not a question. It's going to be resolved after the war. I think there'll be time to allocate that.
Okay, so he takes responsibility, which is good. But, you know, I said when this happened and we found out that this was planned and plotted for 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it was, How can the Israeli military and the IDF be as strong as they are with all the technology and surveillance they have and all the support and funding that they get, allow something this massive to slip through the cracks? Hang gliders. I mean, they came from every which way. This was not just a rogue, isolated suicide bomber that's very difficult to prevent. And it brought me back to 9/11, where, how did that happen? How did that get how did that intelligence not pick up on it? How did it slip through the cracks? And I think it is fair to ask and wonder, anytime something like this happens with nations like Israel or the United States, was this truly a failure, or was this allowed to happen for another reason? I think it's fair to ask that question.
Yeah, I hesitate to go down that road. I guess what you're referring to is like an inside job type thing?
Not necessarily an inside job, but a way to go to war, an excuse to get back into the battle for whatever political or monetary reason you might have.
No, I think that's it. Yeah, I don't know. I
like Iraq, WMD, right?
Well,
we knew Iraq didn't have WMDs, but post 9/11, Bush wanted to go back over and finish the job, and then he used Afghanistan and everything else as a reason to get to Iraq.
So you're saying U.S. intelligence?
Yeah, well, yes, in that from 9/11, that would definitely be U.S. intelligence. But U.S. for this one specifically, I mean, this is probably more on Israel than the U.S., but the U.S. has their hand in the pot, so to speak.
Yeah, I'll have to chew on that one for a second.
I don't know. 2 months though. I mean, you didn't pick. I mean, like, this was not just a guy with explosves in the back of a car.
Allegedly, they were planning it for like 2 years.
Well, then even more to my point.
Yeah.
You for 2 years, you had no idea this was coming? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that's what it is, but, I think curious minds, it's fair to ask the question. Like, this is a pretty massive communications and intel failure.
Yeah.
Like, somebody should be held accountable for this.
Huge.
Right?
Did Hamas just get lucky? You know what I mean? Like,
which could be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting because they did seem to have a lot of plans.
Yeah.
And
how did we get the morning?
Know where a lot of things happen.
How did we get the morning mystery movie clip wrong last week? How did we not have the phone screen? Is that an inside job? Was it meant to derail this show and make a soundbite and go viral, or was it an honest mistake? I don't know. We'll never know.
I see what you did.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? I don't know.
All right, I think we'll save the rest for 9:30. It's time for the Big Three.
All right, Dawn Stensland, 8:45. Big Three at 8.
It's the Big Three at 8 on Kayal and Company.
8-ish.
8-ish. Good morning. A beautiful day, bright, sunny, 71 degrees. The polls are open and by the droves. Well, we don't know voter turnout yet or what's expected. It's an off-year election, so Philadelphia mayoral elections. I know Sherelle Parker was out wearing her bright red as she was joined by many. She's the mayoral candidate on the Democrats' side and expected to pull out a big win as 7-1 registration. David O, I have not seen yet where he's voting, so I didn't see that as of yet. But her Republican and a longtime, friend on city council there. So that one's a big headliner of who becomes Philadelphia's 100th mayor. And so many suburban, county, and statewide elections today. We're talking about all of it this morning on this election day. And as well, in New Jersey, what happens there as Republicans have the best chance they've had in quite some time to sweep in some more offices. 120 legislative offices up for re-election this morning. So we're covering, and many of you have been calling in saying, how is it going? So election day 2023.
So far, not so smooth from all the calls we've had.
Yeah. I mean, not perfect for sure.
No.
We do hope throughout the day you call us here, because we're live and local, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
That's correct.
Call us. Polls are open till 8 p.m. this evening. A major milestone on I-95 today. PennDOT opening permanent northbound lanes at Cottman Ave this morning, and this after the interstate obviously collapsed amid that fatal tanker truck fire nearly 5 months ago. It was June 11th when that happened. So traffic was shifted onto the new outer lane bridge on the northbound side, and that was before the start of the rush hour, obviously, and one of the busiest stretches of interstate in the nation. PennDOT initially reducing the northbound side to one lane at Cotman Ave before it was finally fully opened here.
So in 5 months, they got that opened, yet I still have to drive down to Cal Pike and Bluebell, and it's like driving through a war zone.
Yeah.
Potholes everywhere,
I know.
construction. Are they ever going to finish 202? Who do I, who's my local person I can contact on? Where's my tax money going? I'm sorry.
Well, speaking of heading out on the road and where are things going, where are the people going? Pennsylvania and New Jersey residents moving to Florida in record numbers. This according to census numbers. So Florida, why was Florida desirable? We know about the pandemic. We know about, and even in so-called mainstream media, they're acknowledging this, that the state's leadership is one of the factors that people give, and the aversion to lockdown restrictions. And that was the James Madison Institute noting that one. But you look at the number here, Florida's population growing year to year, nearly 417,000 residents.
Yep.
And so it's about 1,100 new residents daily, but they're coming in droves from New Jersey. So over last year, 10,000 Floridians moved to Jersey, but 50,000 New Jersey residents moved to Florida last year.
A 5-to-1 advantage from north to south.
50,000.
Yeah. We call that the Nick Kayal plan. At this rate, Dawn.
The Tony Bruno
plan. By the time I told you, my goal is to get to 63. My goal is to do this job for 25 years, retire, move to Florida, throw all my electronics, phone, laptop, social media, dump it in the Atlantic, and never be heard from again. By the time that comes, God willing, I get 25 years here, Florida's going to be full. There's going to be no room. It's going to be like the migrants coming up through the southern border to New York City, and Eric Adams says, nope, we can't take it anymore. Florida's going to have the stop sign up saying, Nick, we can't have you. We're out of space.
By the way, if your goal is to retire in 25 years, you need to have a better plan on how to handle your money.
I didn't say retire comfortably. I just want to retire. I'm going to be like Al Bundy. I'm going to collect cans on the beach. 5 cents a can. I'll be the can man.
I love
Walking around with bags of cans.
Man. Wow.
It's funny because he has cans.
He does. Big cans.
Big cans.
I
love
it.
big cans.
Yeah, so ultimately looking at this, and one of the issues they're pointing to as they look at all the different stats is that Florida is one of only 9 states with no income tax.
Yep.
So for upper income households to reside, compared with Pennsylvania and New Jersey, where taxes obviously we've seen rise, that was one of the issues that when people were polled, they talked about.
But you know what though? It's kind of a little bit of a trick because that's the same thing in Tennessee. There's no state income tax in Tennessee, but the sales tax in Tennessee is 9%, as opposed to here it's what, 6% in Pennsylvania?
Statewide.
Yeah.
But Florida, I think theirs is lower as well.
Good.
So that's your big 3, Kayal and Company.
All right. Thank you very much, Dawn. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. So a little quick story of kind of a fun story to wrap up the hour. And then I've got some stuff on Fetterman and Gavin Newsom coming up in the final hour. So I think a lot of people during the pandemic either perhaps had a kid or they decided to get a pet. But apparently getting a pet and naming that pet after COVID can be very offensive and insensitive. This is from actually another competing radio company that this story is coming from. I will not mention the company. It's a company that not nearly as good as ours. They always file bankruptcy. So they have this story about a lady who named her dog COVID. And the dog's name is literally COVID, COVID.
Okay.
Right? And a lot of people were triggered and offended and deemed this to be offensive and insensitive. So a lot of thoughts from this story goes into this. First, you need to decide what kind of creature you want to get when buying a pet. Once that's figured out, you got to determine the specific type, and then you got to come up with the name. So this lady apparently took it to Reddit, the website Reddit, to ask if she made a poor decision. Now, see, you already buy the dog, you already named the dog. Why are you going to the internet for validation with this? I wouldn't go to the internet for validation before I make the decision. And she went on the website and said that she bought a dog and named it COVID. The woman explained, we found a stray puppy. Okay, so she found it. She didn't buy it.
Okay.
During the start of the lockdown. And it started by feeding him scraps in the back garden where they were spending much of their time. Then he moved in and is probably going to stay unless somebody was going to come forward to claim the dog. We put up a notice, this lady is claiming, in a village in their neighborhood with village shops about him. And unlike the pro-Palestinian protesters, they didn't rip down the hostages pictures that are all over the streets. They kept this picture of this dog up, and they decided to name the dog COVID because that's why we found him, spending all of our time at home. She goes on to say, somewhat, though not surprisingly, things have not gone smoothly. She stated, quote, we now have started taking him out for walks, which he loves. But yesterday, a couple heard us calling him by his name while playing by the beach, and they came over and told us that's insensitive, as they lost an uncle to the coronavirus.
Oh, for God's sake.
They said, how would we feel if we called our pet cancer or death?
Death. Death is a good name. That's gonna be my next dog's name.
I'm gonna get a pit bull and name him Death.
Death, yeah.
And put a big sweater on him that says "F around and find out."
Come here, Death. Come here, Death.
Here, Death. There go, boobies.
That's a good death.
Come
That's
on.
a good death.
Dawn, do the buddy boy for me here.
Oh.
So could you imagine having a stranger come up to you and say, "Hey, I heard you were talking to your dog as you wanted them to come back and get on. Is your dog really named COVID?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." Well, I'm a little bothered by that. But, well, good. I wasn't asking your opinion. Now get away from me before I have him bite you. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be surprised, right? Like, this is the world we live in. Everybody's offended by everything.
Yep.
I don't know.
If you named it, just make it French. Mort. La Mort.
Yeah.
Is death.
Oh, is it?
Right?
M-O-R-T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mort.
Mort's a good name. Very old school name.
Yeah.
COVID's kind of a funny name for a dog.
Here, COVID.
Yes.
Come here, COVID. It's a good COVID.
I think you'd end up with Covey. Covey.
Oh, COVID-19's a good boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have said to the lady if she was mad at me for that. Be like, hey, just out of curiosity, ma'am, are you vaxxed? Are you boosted? Oh, no, you are? Okay.
Boosty.
Yeah, you
Would
boosty?
be another one.
There you go.
My dad used to name all the family pets after the old boyfriends of my sister and myself.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That was always fun.
Eric the Red checks in on Twitter. He says, Nick, if you're planning on retiring in 25 years, you better figure out how to cut that grocery bill each week.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Or coerce the corporate shill Greg Stocker into a 401k match program.
Yeah, this company has it, by the way.
Yes,
so.
I know they do.
Okay.
And by the way, revelation yesterday, I did come across an Acme.
Oh, for God's sake. It's literally my favorite tweet of the day.
This is unbelievable. Should I say, we have time for this, or should I save it for the top of the nine?
Save it for the top of the nine.
All right, we'll come back. So you stick around. I'll give you the Acme update when we come back.
Found one.
I found one.
Like it was Bigfoot.
I was like Janine in Ghostbusters. We got one! Kayal Company, final hour next, but right now, Dawn Stenzel.
No, it's me.
Or Greg Stocker
Yeah.
with a word for something.
As the weather gets cold, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. I told you earlier in the 6 o'clock hour, I'm taking the 49ers money line at minus 164. Place a $5 bet on that, and you get $150 in bonus bets if you win. If you've been thinking about joining the FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. You can bet on everything from spreads to player props, over-unders, so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/Greg. FanDuel.com/Greg this NFL season. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT and is the official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, President PA. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Rich Cioli. When it comes to all your home improvement needs, trust is everything. And that's why for years, I've been talking about the amazing work my friends Stephanie and Matt and the entire team at Emmons has done for me and my home. My roof, doors, windows, siding, and yes, remodeling projects. Emmons can bring that same quality of work to all of your kitchen and bathroom remodeling needs. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, and now baths and kitchens. Emmons is the Delaware Valley's one-stop shop for all of your home improvement needs. Call 856-556-3229 and get a free estimate or go online to emmonsroofing.com, or even better, come visit the Emmons Design Showroom in Cherry Hill. emmonsroofing.com. It's about trust, it's about quality, it's about great work, and that's why me and my family have used them for basically every project we've done to improve our home. emmonsroofing.com.
Listen this Saturday as Penn State battles Michigan. Coverage starts at 11:30 a.m. on the home of Penn State football. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
My name is Tom DeBello, and I am here to take a sledgehammer to the excessive spending in Montgomery County as your next county commissioner. If you're fed up, tired, and had enough of your hard-earned money being spent on their projects to enrich themselves and their friends, then help me help you. Together, we can bring back strong, experienced leadership to Montgomery County. Vote Tom DeBello for Montgomery County Commissioner on November 7th. This ad is paid for by friends of Tom DeBello.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I have a serious heart condition called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. I still had symptoms on my beta blocker, so I asked my cardiologist about any treatment advances. It was a breakthrough for me. That's why I'm working with Bristol Myers Squibb to raise awareness about HCM and to help others like me. Talk to your cardiologist today and visit hcmrealtalk.com for more information.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb. This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me, 40 days up to 40 pounds. Visit njdiet.com or call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
Hey, we're talking about QC Kinetics. How are you feeling? If you're not feeling so good, you have that little ache, I want to tell you the future of joint pain relief. It's right here in Philadelphia. QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. It's awesome. Some of you have told me it's like, I had somebody telling me, said, Dawn, this is like a miracle in my life. So here's the thing. If you've been told you need more steroids, or you've been told to schedule surgery and that those are your only options, just not so fast, okay? Just get a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents, attack that joint pain directly. Lasting relief is what QC Kinetics delivers. They don't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very core of the problem using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your aching joint, which restore and repair that damaged tissue. So imagine living your life this fall. No more pain in your knees. Or what about your aching hips, your shoulder, your back? And no drugs, no downtime, no surgery, no more complaining, or no more suffering in silence. Life is about motion. It's about getting moving. QC Kinetics is truly giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Just call them. Call the local medical professionals. Get that free consultation. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics, please call them today. 999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
I have a full mustache and beard.
Don't we all? Don't we all? It's Kayal and Company. Full mustaches and beards. Welcomed, encouraged, and will be celebrated on this program. And if you cry about working 9 to 5 or having an 8-hour shift, well, that's on you, because at the end of the day, you're being paid to work, and if you don't like it, quit. How about that? All right, Kayal.
Wait. Do you have your own voice on the soundboard?
Yeah, Jim pulled that as well. Figured I'd work that in as a kind of the back end of the mustache clip there.
Has the soundboard jumped the shark?
Wow, I don't think the shark never jumps the shark. All right, let's give a little more of Greg, all right? How about this?
No, I don't want me. I don't want me, but I just think it's weird to have you on the soundboard when you are in control of the soundboard.
Was not my suggestion. It was a Jim exclusive.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, what the hell, throw it up there. I just really wanted the mustache and the beard.
Okay.
So, again, this was yesterday. Our guy at the Starbucks, Gen Z, are having a breakdown because he's a full-time college student and he works 25 hours a week. And sometimes on the weekend, Starbucks gets a little overwhelming. And then you get misgendered like this.
I have a full mustache and beard.
Well, that's funny.
Yes. Correct. All right, so we've got some good stuff to get to here with John Fetterman and Gavin Newsom. More disarray within the Democratic Party, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But everybody was infatuated with my admission yesterday. And look, if it's a bad look on me, I have no problem saying it. I just give you the facts, and you guys can judge me all you want. I said, I don't know how we even got into the conversation. Oh, it was about my grocery bill. Mm-hmm. And I said I go to Giant, and then we were talking about other grocery retailers, so to speak, and then we got into Acme, A-C-M-E. And I said, since I moved back here, I have yet to come across a Acme. And lo and behold, yesterday, and look, of course, I know they exist all over the place, but I live kind of right in Bluebell where it meets Plymouth Meeting. And if you know where Germantown Pike is and Township Line Road is and things of that nature, I'm in that general vicinity. So I had to run to Staples to get some more pens and legal pads because I burned through paper worse than a law office. So I'm sitting there at the red light on Germantown Pike before you get to DeKalb Pike at that intersection. And I'm at the red light, and I look over, and I tweeted the picture of it, and I'm like, I'll be damned, there's an Acme. Well, I'm like, well, we're just talking about this on the show. So I tweeted this yesterday, much to the chagrin of Stalker, although Stalker likes this kind of tweet.
I do.
So
I just like your very real nature of it,
Yes.
like it's very honest.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you don't pretend
That's
to know
true.
it. You don't
Right.
pretend like
That's correct.
Like
when
the
you say
rest-
you don't know it, you're like, I don't know
No,
that.
I don't know it.
Yeah. Like, for the record, the rest of us would never admit
No,
things.
that's correct.
We would just never admit it.
If there's a song
So-
or a movie I haven't seen or
Yeah.
heard, and it's a bad look on me and I haven't seen it, I'll still say it. That's
Yeah.
fine. You guys can pile on. At Nick Kayal on Twitter if you want to send any of your hate messages. So I posted the picture of it, but now I got to give myself credit because last night as I was checking some of my mentions, there were a few people that said that is brand new. That used to be a ShopRite, to which the light bulb went off, and I have been back up here since August of 2022, and I think as recent as some point this past summer, that was still a ShopRite.
That's his story, and he's sticking with it.
Shafe on the YouTube chat writes, "Hey Nick, welcome to Earth."
Yes, that's enough learning
That's
for
cute.
today, Nick. We'll fill you in some more details tomorrow.
Oh, God.
But apparently that used
Love
to be
it.
a ShopRite for a long time, which now I do recall seeing a ShopRite there, which would explain and give more credence to my defense of I have yet to see an Acme anywhere near me in Montgomery County. But now there is one, and I will go on Friday.
But there are multiple Acmes because isn't there another one up, kind of because there's an Aldi. See, this is me. This is where I go to multiple places.
Yeah.
The Aldi I go to,
Mhm.
so I should just go for Nick. Like, what do you need?
Yeah, I'll Venmo you the money, and you can do my shopping.
Because it's right next to McCaffrey's Food Market, like right there in Bluebell. Then there's an Aldi.
Yep, I've
And-
gone into it. I live right there.
Right?
Yeah.
There's the Chipotle.
Yep. The liquor store.
Liquor store.
There's a liquor store there, right?
They love me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They get a lot of business.
No, I love that little shop, and
Oh, I
that's
do too.
relatively new.
See, you got this. I mean, no surprise. It's got a ton of reaction on social media.
Right.
But a lot of people are commenting that their prices are actually more expensive than ShopRite's and Giants.
Is that true?
I don't know.
Not It depends.
Because Giant's
you
pretty low end, right? Like Giant's not bougie. It's just your average run of the mill grocery
With
company.
all of them, you have to have the app. You have to have the app
Mhm.
and do the digital.
Really?
Not just your phone number.
Okay.
Do the app.
So you get more savings on top of your bonus card, so to speak?
And then certain days of the week, they have certain sales. So you got to know. So Acme on game day, Eagles game day, 5% off your total receipts.
Okay.
Total thing.
So do your shopping
Acme.
Sunday morning.
So yeah, so that's a good one. But then Giant has their own set of like all their. You have to know all the different deals.
Yeah. See, I go to Giant, and I never have the bonus card on my keychain anymore.
I gotta ask you guys both this question.
What?
Stop.
You guys make very good salaries. Why are you both discount shopping?
Let me just tell you something.
Because I got married and had kids.
Yeah, you save your. We both have the philosophy: save your pennies, to spend your dollars.
Okay.
Which is a good philosophy.
Yeah.
So I was this way when I was a main news anchor signed to a 7-figure contract. I was exactly this way because in life there are ups and downs. There are, Trump economies, and then there are Bidenomics economies.
And when you make
gotta
money
prepare.
and you make good money, how do you keep that money?
Yeah,
you don't
save
spend
it.
that money. Right?
That's right. Or you spend it on the right
But see,
things.
my problem is I spend too much. Like I probably live a little bit above my means, but I've always been one of these people that said, I can't take it with me when I die anyway. So I can't take the money with me. I can certainly leave my debt behind for my daughters, and I intend on doing that.
Oh my God!
I intend
what
on
is
doing.
wrong with you?
Daddy's leaving the receipts. Yep. So
No, there's another. There are 3 Acmes within your vicinity, by the way.
All right, I'm really going to check it out on Friday. I swear to God, I'm going to go shopping at Acme on Friday.
He's never been. It's unbelievable.
You totally cracked me up.
Yeah.
Well, because I told you, and if you missed the story yesterday, when I was, went to college at Temple, I was a commuter, and when I was doing sports in this city for 6 years, I was a commuter from the Lehigh Valley, and they didn't really have many Acmes at all, I don't think, in the Lehigh Valley. So anytime I would hear an Acme, and I knew what it was, but I was never down here like on a consistent basis to shop at an Acme. Now, I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, because, Stalker, you've been with the company since the Civil War. When we were over, when Odyssey, which was then Entercom and CBS, when they were over in Bala Cynwyd, I believe isn't there an Acme in on City Avenue?
Right there. It's a really good one.
That was the only one I could ever recall seeing in my lifetime. And I never went in there because I was a commuter.
Correct me.
So there you go.
Here's the thing with Acme, because Giant bought up a lot. So like the one in Flowertown used to be Gennardi's.
I
So
remember
the
Gennard- I remember
Gennardi's.
Gennardi's.
So a lot of the Giants bought things up. But Acme has local, you'll notice, they have some of the they have Cento. They make sure that they have local, and they also have like Jersey tomatoes and things of that nature.
Okay.
So that's another piece of it. But they have the better coupon days if you're signed up for everything.
Do you clip coupons, Don? Or
Well, you clip them digitally.
No, but did you back when they were just like in the paper and stuff?
No.
Did you? Okay.
Like,
I never did that.
I've got one of these for Tropicana orange juice, 39 cents.
Well, that's
off.
what I mean. Like is Dawn standing in line saying?
Oh, dude, like my
saying
mom,
something
to Dawn with the bargain shopping. My mom, she would the night before, she'd get out her notepad, she'd make her list, then she'd go
That's my
through the
mother-in-law.
coupons.
That's my mother-in-law.
I mean, I would get to I would go when I was younger, and I would go with her when I was like 10, 11, something like that. We'd get into the checkout line, and the lady would say, "Do you have any coupons?" And my mom would, if she was buying 37 items, she had 12 coupons. And it was the slowest checkout of all. I felt bad for the people behind us.
My mother-in-law swears by like Sam's Club and stuff, and she'll come to our house and ask my wife, "What'd you pay for that?" And she'd be like, I whatever.
Yeah.
She'd be like, you can get a 4-pack for X amount of dollars. You save this.
Well, yeah,
And
it's
stuff's
true.
like, I don't care.
If you need anything, and like I buy my cases of alkaline water, like I'm drinking right now. I buy the big case at Sam's because I can get them in bulk, much cheaper than if I buy like a 6 or a 12-pack at Giant. Because my wife's in-laws, they use Sam's for their vendor and catering business because they buy all their product in bulk.
By the way, this segment, this 10 minutes we just did on this is not sponsored by Acme.
No, that's correct. But it could end up clipped on Twitter.
But they're getting free advertising.
And a big hello. That's the other thing about Acme. Like they all listen. Dave, they listen to us. They listen to Kayal and Company. They're listening at the Acme and Flowertown. So big shout out to you guys.
Okay, very good.
Mark Bissey on the YouTube chat writes, Acme has good sales on meat that can be pounded and rubbed.
Well, that's
you want to pound it, you can.
Oh, boy.
And then do like a dry rub. I did.
Exactly.
Just last night.
Wow. Late at night. So
No,
Dorenzo said they have
actually-
yellow stickers on the meat for I think he said yesterday something like $3 off on stuff.
Acme has some of the best meat products.
Oh, good.
And they're on sale, and they have a butcher right there. You
Yeah.
watch them cut it. I mean,
Well,
that's
Giant's
one of the things-
outrageous.
Well, it's
yeah.
Acme's a union shop. That's
Is
why.
it?
That's why the
Good.
That's why the prices are more
Well, I'm
expensive.
going to go there because I when I was at Giant on Friday, $23.99 a pound for strip, $24.99 a pound for a ribeye, and $28.99, which I kind of expect for a fillet. But $25 on a pound for
Yeah.
a ribeye steak?
Yeah.
I'll just go to the restaurant and pay $22 for it.
But that's what I'm saying. You just have to know when are their sales days.
Right.
And it's all digital.
Yep.
So you just click it on your phone. But not for nothing, remember Walmart.
That's correct.
Oh, for God's sake.
We're the deplorable shop. All right.
I love
so I was
Walmart.
told. So do I. You can buy a TV at Walmart.
But I'm
You don't
always-
go to Best Buy.
Yeah, but
Walmart's horrendous. Are
No-
you kidding?
no, it's not.
The
I love
dregs
Walmart.
of society go to Walmart.
Hey, how much do you want to save?
Oh my lord!
Yeah,
you ever go to people are in pajama pants and this is. No, I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not. I'm not.
Stalker's
I'm not
being
down
very
with.
elitist.
I
No,
love
I'm not.
Walmart.
I'm not down with
He's being
Walmart
sarcastic.
and the. No, I'm not. I'm not.
you're-
It has nothing to do with. It has
I'm
nothing
at
to-
Walmart all the time.
It is.
I love Walmart.
It is a horrible
Intruder.
shopping experience.
Well, I
No, it
prefer-
is
It is
not.
a horrible
prefer-
shopping
I
experience.
prefer-
Please defend. But come on.
I
Defend
prefer-
me.
I prefer-
855-829-1210.
No,
It is
Walmart's
not.
fine. Walmart's
I
fine,
love
but I
Walmart.
prefer Target. Target's a better experience. But
yes,
I
yes.
go to Walmart.
Target is a better experience. Walmart is.
Target's got the best
horrendous.
carts. Target shopping carts are undefeated.
I have not been in a Target store since they put the little
There we go.
tuck-it swimsuits for little boys. That was it for me.
Yeah.
I was like your bus driver. I
Yeah,
was
see,
like,
I didn't.
I've had it.
I didn't boycott them, but I did boycott Bud Light. But we've discussed that.
But you know what? I didn't. I have to admit, it wasn't like I purposely did it. It's just subconscious. I
Mhm.
actually haven't stepped, and I used to love them, but I just.
All right, so we'll take your shopping calls. Grocery,
No, we're
or
not.
retailer, 855-839.
I didn't
What is
spe-
your power? What is your Mount Rushmore of retail establishments?
I didn't get. I didn't intend to spend 15 minutes on
Neither did I.
Acme versus Walmart. Walmart is horrendous. Thank you.
It's not.
It is.
Man,
It's
we,
not.
We have such a good show. We just did 15 minutes on something that wasn't even planned.
The dregs of society.
All right.
I guess I'm a drag.
Not
You are.
you.
I know.
I'm there all once a week. I'm at Walmart.
So
Are you
Trooper.
fighting over things?
No.
So the
That's my bottle of water.
So the question needs to be asked: is Dawn a Melania, a Walmart Melania?
I would wear that as a badge of pride.
Dawn and Casey DeSantis, both Walmart
Yeah.
shoppers.
Thank you to the boys in the back, Phil. Is Walmart a horrible shopping experience? On the YouTube chat, there's a poll right now, yes or no. I'm going to put yes.
And you have to have been to a Walmart within the past 2 weeks.
It's
to
tied
join the poll.
50-50 right now.
Right.
See?
Wow.
Which Walmart are you going to?
Oh man.
All of them are horrible. I wouldn't. Exactly. There's meatballs in there. There's meatballs in there.
Well, I love the free
With
samples.
their stretch pants on and
Well,
their
when you get the
butt
free
cheeks hanging out.
You get those meatballs in the free sample aisle with the lady with the little toothpick, and she's like, "Would you like a meatball, honey?" I'm like, "Yes."
Have you seen the Yes, it's people like Meatball in there with stretch pants on and their butt cheeks hanging out. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I go to the one on South Trooper West Norriton in Montgomery County. That's the one I go to all the time because we go to a gym up there.
Oh.
And I go there all the time.
All right, very good.
The butt cheeks are nice.
Yeah.
There are no bad butt cheeks there. And that
Thank
Walmart's
you.
a good one.
Ross, Walmart is horrible. Haven't
It's
been in a
not.
I'll tell you what, though, you can get a bargain on a TV. You go in
Get
there,
a bargain on anything.
Get an 85-inch flat screen for a couple $100 less than you would pay at like a retailer, like a Best Buy. Good value.
Peter S. says Walmart is a magnet for low-quality customers, no matter how upscale the neighborhood. I agree. I'm sorry. It's not an elitist thing. And Dawn, you can save all the money you want to, and you know I love you, and I would never call you low class. You're high class. But I just think that the majority of people that go there are horrendous human beings.
Let's get it back to the election, shall we? Let's talk about this seats up for grabs in New Jersey.
You want hot takes? I'm giving you hot takes.
All right, so last question on the grocery store front,
yeah.
because I mentioned grabbing like the free meatball sample. Is it a violation if? And I don't even know that grocery stores do. I haven't seen this in a long time. Where you go up and down the aisle and there's a lady with like the meatball they're trying to sell you, or the new chicken, whatever. If you grab one sample, is it a violation to go back later during your same shopping experience and try to go up for a second, acting as if you didn't get one before?
Stop eating samples in Walmart. That's
Look,
gross. It's probably horse meat.
Well, it's building your immune system, friend.
That's right. That's why I'm not sick and the rest of the Delaware Valley is, because I eat garbage. I plan for this. I prepare myself. All right.
Can we get back to the election?
Let's get back to the stuff that matters. So there's two things I wanted to mention here, and they're both on the Gavin Newsom front, which I thought was interesting. And it really falls under this like divide that we're seeing in some of the bickering within the Democratic Party. So John Fetterman's really been on a roll lately, and Fetterman roasted Gavin Newsom over his shadow campaign that he's running right now for Joe Biden in 2024. So this is the latest. Senator John Fetterman took a shot at Gavin Newsom of California. This actually happened over the weekend, where he roasted the ambitious Democrat for running for president without, quote, having the guts to announce it in a speech that he did in Iowa on Saturday. Fetterman said the following, quote, there are two additional Democrats running for Pennsylvania, running for president right now. Remember, this is Fetterman quotes. This is not me screwing it up. Quote, one is a congressman from Minnesota. The other one is the governor of California, but only one has the guts to announce it. If you are a Democrat that wants to criticize and go after Joe Biden, our president, just go ahead and write a check for Donald Trump, Fetterman said. So now you've got Fetterman taking these swipes at Gavin Newsom. And if you say, well, is he really trying to run for, is this a shadow campaign, or are we jumping to conclusions? Well, there's a lot of speculation, and I think you can almost put this to bed and to rest now, because according to the Daily Mail, Gavin Newsom is now sparking speculation that he could run in 2024 after making donations to the mayoral candidate in South Carolina. And you might say, well, why is that? Well, it's the first crucial state in the Democratic primaries coming up. So you would sit there and you say, well, what business does the governor of California have to do with something going on in South Carolina? We've talked about this for a while now, where it feels like, maybe Gavin has been told, look, just keep the arm loose, stay on the sideline, keep throwing the ball around. You never know when Joe could go down. You put the helmet, you go in. And we talked earlier this morning about when this would happen, because there's really no deadline, so to speak, with Joe. And we talked about like mid-January and then primaries coming up. You start to connect the dots here, and I think it's more than just smoke. I think it's fire. I think the Democrats are just waiting for what they have blueprinted and mapped out to be the perfect time to pull the wool out from underneath, so to speak, of Joe. And it looks like it will very much be Gavin Newsom. Although Ted Cruz came out over the weekend and he says what I have said. Now, although he puts it on 2024, he thinks Michelle Obama is going to be.
Stop with the Michelle Obama.
Again?
It's so.
I'm telling you. I think there's something to it.
It's red meat for people. Like, oh, I told you it's going to be Michelle Obama. It's not going to be Michelle Obama. Stop.
I would absolutely say it's far more likely Gavin Newsom. Absolutely. Especially sooner rather than later. But I believe before my time is up on this planet, Michelle Obama will run for president. Just saying. Put that on my epitaph.
Nope.
Nah.
Nope.
Okay.
There's zero chance that happens.
I hope I'm wrong. Because I sadly think she would win. All right, 9:20. Let's get to the morning mystery movie clip.
And now, the morning mystery movie clip on Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is bad, Cam. This is real bad. Okay? I don't like those numbers at all.
Just one poll? Those things aren't scientific.
Yes, they are. All this is science. This is math.
But if you took it and put it on its axis this way...
Hey, look, Cam, I'm telling you right now, it was the phone call. Yes.
No way.
Yes way. No, look at this, okay? 62% of the people that got asked liked you, okay? Then the phone call happened. Then they asked the same question Now only 46% of people like you.
Run through it one more time.
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
Do we have a prize? Because I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's the same from yesterday.
It's the same
I'm sorry,
from
yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. So caller 12, 855-839-1210. If you can identify that morning mystery movie clip, you will get a pair of tickets to see A Very Philly Christmas at the Kimmel Center, Verizon Hall. That's coming up Saturday, December 2nd at 3 p.m., featuring Broadway singers and dancers, local choirs, and the No Name Pops in brilliant new arrangements of your favorite holiday songs, plus lots of surprises and some essentially Philly fun. Caller 12, 855-839-1210. See if we get our winner on the other side. And also, is it ever acceptable in defeat to cry in mommy's arms in public?
Such a great story.
In any setting, much less sports.
This is my favorite story of the day, and I'm glad we're getting to it at 9:30.
If Dawn didn't kill you for your Walmart commentary, Greg,
Oh,
she
boy.
might get you next.
Oh, boy.
And we're back after this.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Question for you. How many healthcare providers do you know who schedule downtime in their offices for team training? Not many. But my good friend, dentist and board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Robert Bentz does that because he wants to ensure that he and his staff are well-versed in all the latest technology, so when he invests in new state-of-the-art equipment for his patients, he can rest assured that he and his staff can maximize the performance of the new technology. One of their latest investments is the Trios 5 scanner. Talk about amazing. The Trios 5 has an incredible design which reduces the potential for patients gagging or experiencing discomfort during the impression-taking process. Plus, the process is much faster, which saves Dr. Bentz and his patients precious time. The scans are done, the plan is made, and the on-site lab gets to work. Dr. Bentz and his staff are a well-oiled machine when it comes to your comprehensive dental care. They're always working to make that experience as comfortable and as seamless as it can be. Visit them at bentzdentalgroup.com.
Hey, neighbor, what you up to?
Just getting the groundwork done to put in my new patio.
Oh, cool. Did you contact Pennsylvania One call system to check for underground utilities first?
Nah, there's nothing but dirt back here.
Whoa, hey, man, are you okay?
Hey, did you guys lose power too? Love that new hair color, Bill.
Yeah, your hair's totally white now.
Maybe I should contact Pennsylvania One Call.
Well, that's the smartest thing you've said all day.
Know what's below. Contact 811 before you dig or visit pa1call.org to submit a locate request to have underground utilities marked.
The Crash Proof Retirement Show will air before and after Penn State football this Saturday. Tune in at 11 a.m., then again right after the game to learn how to create your own Crash Proof Retirement game plan.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at the Sellersville Theater in Sellersville with Paul Wyants and Brendan Donegan, Saturday, November 18th. For tickets, go to JoeConklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected? My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
Having repairs done in your apartment should never come with strings attached, like being harassed and constantly pressured for sexual favors.
My landlord told me my rent would be free if I gave him something in exchange.
The Fair Housing Act protects you from harassment by anyone associated with your housing, including someone making unwelcome sexual advances. If this happens to you, file a complaint with HUD. No strings attached. To learn more, visit HUD.gov/fairhousing. If you fear for your safety, call 911. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
If you have Medicare plan questions and are turning 65 and getting inundated by mail and phone calls, learn the A, B, C, and D's of Medicare. Let the Senior Store answer all of your questions. Get your free evaluation today by visiting the Enrollment Center. Call a local Senior Store licensed agent at 877-YOU-LEARN-65 or by setting up an in-home visit. That's 877-YOU-LEARN-65 or visit theseniorstore.com. Enrollment starts October 15th. Not affiliated with the U.S. government or federal Medicare program.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Just a reminder, as I've been doing for years, about batteries plus bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield. My buddy Roy, this guy had the vision of old-fashioned customer service married with technology to build custom battery packs, smartphone repairs, game console repairs. Give him a call. Anything in the technology field, you'll get old-fashioned customer service and great technical skill. Call him at 856-638-0778. Batteries plus bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield stores.
Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute have formed a powerful alliance. Legends in Caregiving New Jersey families, the most sophisticated heart team in America. Innovators in research and patient care who've made life better for thousands of patients, raising the standard for the next generation of care. The alliance between Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute means the highest quality care close to home for you. DemandDeborah.org.
Pluto TV has all your rom-com favorites, all for free. It's TV the way it should be. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
You know, we recently got my son Michael that gorgeous new Honda Civic from our friends at Piazza Honda. They were just great to deal with. What an experience. It was just a pleasure. When do you say that, leaving a dealership? But the knowledgeable sales team showed us all the features. Then, of course, took Michael for a road test drive. We were all so impressed. And we left the dealership with the specific model, the exact color that Michael wanted. Actually, it was more than he actually could have wished for. And the experience was seamless, start to finish. If you're considering a new or maybe a pre-owned Honda, visit Piazza Honda in Philadelphia, Springfield, Langhorne, Pottstown, or Reading. Discover the power of the Piazza Auto Group as well. You can always shop online, piazzahonda.com, Piazza, piazzahonda.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Riverton, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
$9:29, Kayal and Company, as we roll on live on a Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us on YouTube. We've got our morning mystery movie clip winner on the line. It is Frank in Delco. Frank, what movie did we just play for you last segment, sir?
Hey, good morning, Nick. That's the movie that's based on Michelle Obama's future. It's called The Campaign with Will Ferrell.
Well done, Frank. Nice tie-in. You got the very Philly Christmas tickets at the Kimmel Center on December 2nd. We appreciate you listening, and thank you for playing,
Nick,
sir.
Hey, Nick, real quick.
Yeah.
Nick, I love the show, and I love you dearly, but when you say things that Michelle Obama's going to run for president someday, I almost want to drive off the road.
Well,
but
so do I.
I love it.
Oh, no, Frank. I almost want to fall off my chair when I say it. But I do believe that family has been lurking around way too much. We know that this is really a third Obama term. If Joe gets reelected, it'll be a fourth Obama term. And I'm not saying it's a distinct chance. I'm not saying it's a coin flip or 50-50 or better than 50%. But I do believe that there is a percentage chance out there. What that percentage is, I don't know, but I would not rule it out. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. I hope to be wrong. All right.
A lot of conspiracy theories out there.
A lot of theories out there. Uh-huh. So let's get to this last story, and this is just fabulous. This is right in Stalker's wheelhouse. So there's a quarterback at USC. He won the Heisman Trophy last year. His name's Caleb Williams. He could be the first pick of the NFL draft. They've had a rough year. They've lost 2 or 3 games. Their defense stinks. They put up a lot of points. It's not his fault. They just can't stop anybody. So after the loss, another rough loss this past Saturday night where they lost 52-42, he was seen going viral on, I believe, right at the edge of the bleachers, kind of where his family was sitting towards the end of the game, or maybe mom made her way down towards the field, and he was very upset, and he was crying in mommy's arms. It'd be like Germantown Academy losing, and Michael sees mommy Stensland over there, and mommy gives him a hug. So what do we think about this, where a man who's 21 years old, Heisman Trophy winner, could be the first pick of the draft?
Can we put the video up there? There
Yeah.
we go. Go over to YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. You can see the video.
I mean, he's
Phil,
literally
Phil,
like
if you
over
put
the rail.
If you can put it on a loop, Phil, and just he's like crying. He has something. She's shielding his face, or he's shielding his face.
Yeah, with like a banner or a sign. And he is sobbing uncontrollably. Dawn, I want to get your thoughts on this. Greg, I want to get your thoughts. Here's my rule. Once you're done playing Pee-wee football, like by the time you're in 5th or 6th grade, the crying after the loss to mommy, that has to end. That's just me. I don't have boys. I won't have to worry about it.
Yep.
But I'll leave that to the lady that has boys.
Now, what if one of your daughters was college age and they would? Isn't that a sexist remark?
College age? No, I would tell my daughters, like, no, you're in college. You can't be crying like this.
You would not.
Yeah,
you would
20,
not.
20 years old?
Yeah, you would not.
No,
Just
if you're crying in the locker room
Just wait.
or on the field with your teammates, but if I see you in mommy's arms, like, and he's sobbing uncontrolled, like his body's shaking.
Yes.
That's a violation.
Mommy, man, we lost. Mommy.
I scored 42 and it wasn't enough. Damn it.
Mommy.
That's got to be the cutoff, right? Like, I wouldn't even accept it with high school boys. Much less a guy, he's getting, by the way, he's getting paid to play because these kids are compensated now.
He is a big old boy, loves his mom.
And I love the fact that he's got
mama's
a
baby.
passion that means something to him, definitely. But you can't be crying like that. Now, here's the other thing. See, as much as I have a problem with this, I have more of a problem with one of his post-game comments where he said he wants to, I'm paraphrasing here, I think he said, I want to go home and just cuddle up with my dog.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, will you stop?
Yeah.
This is supposed to be. Wait. Hang on. We're always on the show talking about how, like, football players are supposed to be the, alpha males, and
this is a little bit beta for me.
This is 100% beta. Now, look. There's nothing wrong with guys crying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like, there's nothing. I will admit, it's it shows good emotions.
Yeah.
Certain things. But over a football game, I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, I've done this after a losing bet.
No, it's everything, though. This is his, come on. You didn't play footballs or you didn't have somebody in football.
It's a good
but
point.
It's your whole life.
I don't disagree with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw in past years and even, last weekend, but in past years, the upcoming GAPC game, I've seen grown men who were alums and their sons were playing and they lost. And I've seen grown men cry after a high school football game.
Well, I've cried.
Because it's a passage of life as well.
Yes, it is. And then you also, if you're not going to be playing at the next level in the pros or if you're not going to go from high school to play in college.
But he will be.
Well, he will be, yes. But, you do have a bit of an identity crisis then. I mean, I didn't know what to do with myself when I was done playing sports and I could no longer play because nobody wanted to let me go to school for free and give me a scholarship. That's why I got into sports radio because it satisfied an itch, a competitiveness in me. So, I get that, but, dude.
Yeah, this is complete nonsense.
You're wrong. First of all, here's the thing. It shows you what a strong young man he is.
Oh, stop.
Right? If you're a real man, you should never be afraid to cry.
With mom.
And if you're a real man and you look for your mom and you give mom a hug, that's a real man right there. So he's a nice young man. He loves his family. He loves his mom. And it was a tough loss. It was it was a tough loss. Obviously, he's a champion. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. This mom has been driving her son, what's his name, Caleb?
Caleb Williams.
Caleb. She's been, come on, Caleb, since he's like in 3rd or 4th grade. And mom is so dedicated. And he knew that was the one person who knows his journey and knows how heartbreaking this was. Because this kid has the heart of a champion. But he's still, a boy who's 21. Like I always say, men have dog years. Like my husband, Larry, he's a lot older than I am. But really, a man who's like in his 50s or 60s is really like a 25-year-old. Because there are dog years, but it's the opposite.
I do agree with that.
So men mature, like girls are mature. Like your 9-year-olds, they could like run a company right now. Girls are very mature very early. Men, the opposite.
This is, I got to say that if I am the Chicago Bears, Carolina Panthers, New York Giants,
You start to rethink this decision.
What other teams stink this year? Like I'm just thinking of teams that'll get high draft picks.
Yep.
And I see that I'm like, guys, I don't know about this one.
Wow.
I don't know if you can handle.
Stocker willing to avoid the quarterback.
Well, it just shows you can't handle pressure. If you're a quarterback, you need to handle pressure.
Yep.
You can't cry in mommy's arms.
Well,
come on.
He handled himself on the field.
He completed 27 out of 35 passes for 312 yards.
Yeah.
It was a battle of the quarterbacks. He's the Heisman guy, right? He's a Heisman hopeful.
Yep. He's a good player.
But he actually
a little soft, I think.
No.
Get him a little charming.
He's the number. He's the number 1 draft pick, right?
Yeah, probably.
Presumptive.
Yeah.
I don't care that he cried. He loves his mom. It was a tough.
Can you
loss.
imagine who needs a quarterback the most right now? The New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine them going from Eli Manning to Daniel Jones to this guy?
Oh, in New York City,
Come
where
on.
they eat you up and spit you out. Could you think Caleb Williams could handle Eagle fans? Eagle fans would make him cry every week if he sucked. Oh my God!
Yeah, this is not right. I get, and Dawn, you were saying about being sexist. Like, what would Nick do? I do think we talk about the differences between boys and girls all the time.
Yep.
I do think that there is a difference, and I think if you're a guy and you're an elite quarterback, it's a bad look to be up in the stands crying with your mommy. I just do. I just do. And that's coming. I am super sensitive.
Right.
I know I'm sensitive to a fault. I know that about myself. But I also don't play football.
That's true.
And I don't really put myself out there as a alpha male.
Well, you do sometimes when you start shouting.
We start at 6 a.m.
There's alpha stock.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Come on.
Caleb. Nice young man.
Bix writes, cry equals cry.
Stop. The crying game.
Oh, yeah.
You can see they're going to dog him, but
yeah, Rob's right. He will never make it in the NFL. I agree with that.
What?
I'm sorry. I agree with that. I agree with that.
You stop.
Dawn or Nick, do you agree?
Well, I mean, can he make it? Yes. I mean, but here's the thing. In fairness, it's not like he's crying in the middle of the game. It's after the game.
It doesn't matter.
So as long as
it doesn't matter.
As long as you're a beast on the field, as long as you don't let the media get to you or the fans get to you, but crying to mom's not going to be really impactful on your future in the pros. Although if he does that, I mean, let's face it, you do that in a pro locker room, boy, that's bulletin board material for those other 52 alphas.
Well, that's why it was smart that he covered with the sign, because he can go, I was just telling my mama how much I love her.
Yeah.
I wasn't crying. How do you know I was crying?
Right.
Because you can't actually see.
Oh, man. Dorenzo's saying this is a McNabb type move.
Oh, please.
Yeah, now, you know what? I could see that. I could see him crying with Mama McNabb over a can of Campbell's Chunky Soup. God, remember those commercials?
Soggy Donuts writes, future Norman Bates. Yeah. Cut the umbilical cord, dude, and try and do this on your own, okay? You know what? We weren't good enough to beat, who do they play?
The Washington.
We weren't good enough to beat them. Sorry. Try again next time. Practice a little harder next time.
Yep. All right.
What a sexist society we live in. Because if a 20 or 21-year-old pretty young college co-ed were crying, big cry, oh, she's so, give her a hug.
Yeah.
And he's that's her baby.
I said there's nothing wrong with men crying. Funerals. Tragedies. I get it. Yes, absolutely.
But if this were
on a parlay,
a hottie, pretty little long-haired volleyball player in the Olympics, and she lost, and it was a brutal loss, and she was crying, you'd be, oh, that's so sweet, and she hugged her dad.
I don't know. I don't know that crazy broad who was crying about having to work a 9-to-5 job.
I have a full mustache and beard.
We didn't have any sympathy for her. Not that one, the other one.
I did have sympathy on second thought, remember?
Okay.
Because my theory on her was she really was lonely and just wanted a man.
Yeah, see, I'm not in the sympathy or the credit business. I'm really not. Yeah. If you want credit, call MasterCard.
When's the last time an NFL player cried? Come on.
Last time an NFL player cried.
Terrell Owens. That's my quarterback.
Yeah, that's right. That was 15, 16
about
years ago.
who
was about McNabb.
No, it was about
it was Romo.
Tony Romo,
Tony Romo
when he
in
played for Dallas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's my quarterback.
My quarterback, man. Even though I've killed every quarterback I've ever played with. And I ruined the Eagles' season.
Yeah, I wonder if those dogs were crying after he oh, sorry.
I did
Too
this in
soon.
San Francisco, too. All right, enough sports. Let's get it back to politics.
I think it's so sweet. I think his relationship with his mom and coming over there and sharing that moment with her was sweet. And I just think people are overblowing. Everybody's talking about it now.
Hey, by the way, speaking of the other heated debate we had this morning, whether or not Walmart's low class, we had one tweet that said Walmart to Target is like 7-Eleven to Wawa. Which
exactly.
I think that's really spot on.
Thank you. That's a very good.
Wawa and Target more higher end, but I prefer Walmart much more than I would 7-Eleven. I can't tell you the last time I've been in a 7-Eleven. So.
It's just so much like white trash. People with pajama pants on and slippers, buying discount water.
Oh my goodness!
It's true. It's true.
Well, that's my people.
Stop it. You're not. You're the farthest thing from that, which shocks me that you go there. That's all I'm saying.
I love Walmart.
Okay,
I like Walmart too.
Just shows you my true spirit.
Did we tell people to get out and vote today?
I don't know.
Yes.
Did we?
Okay.
Absolutely.
No, I'm just kidding.
Polls are closed. Don't go. There's just going to be an issue anyway.
Tonight.
The ballots, the machines will be jammed. The printers won't be working. Just don't go.
Peter S. on the YouTube chat writes, I bet a bunch of Eagles players cried last year after the Super Bowl.
That's
loss.
right.
Sure, probably did. They just weren't seen on TV crying with mommy. Optics, baby. It matters.
You guys annoy me.
I'm just trying to get to 10 o'clock. That's all.
Dawn,
I love this.
Dawn,
I
I
think it's
told
sweet.
you this was my favorite subject because I knew what the reaction was going to be.
Should have did a big take on this.
And there are a lot of people saying, I mean, I know there's a back and forth online, but I think Caleb Williams, it shows that he wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to end up with money. I'm going to end up in the NFL. I'm still going to be the number 1 draft pick. That's not what he thought. What he showed right there, first of all, love of family, love and gratitude to his mom, and as well, the fact that money is not everything. The fact that he wasn't just going, oh, I don't care. I've got my future. He has the heart of a champion. That's my opinion.
I love the show because you never know what the opinions are going to be.
That's
like
right.
It's not like you don't just tune in here and know exactly where the takes are going to be from any one of us.
Or you just the topics could be very, very diverse.
It is just you never know what you're going to get on the show
Right.
or whose opinion you're going to.
Although some people
agree or
might be
disagree with.
yearning for some of this.
Maybe we can spend 2 more hours talking about Trump v. DeSantis.
Will that make you happy, Fred? Will it? All right. Are we doing the cut sheet?
No, it's too late.
It's too late? Okay.
But KK asked, why don't you ask Nick about crying after the Super Bowl? What does that mean?
Crying after the Eagles Super Bowl?
Did you cry?
Maybe.
At one point?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have been a little liquor.
I did, yeah. I had just moved to Nashville the Thursday before the Super Bowl. I get down there 3 days before the Eagles play the Patriots in 2018. And I'm by myself in my little apartment in Nashville, and Nick Foles does what Donovan McNabb could not. I shed a tear.
I know.
I'll do the same thing for the Sixers or Flyers, because I've never seen either one of them win a championship in my lifetime.
Secret Squirrel says Greg Stocker is a snob.
Well, I mean, that might be the post of the day.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's
all
funny.
right.
I can get the sponsor in.
Yeah.
No, the funniest tweet of the day was when Greg was saying that the attorney, the esteemed attorney for Trump, Alina Habba, looks like Melania. And then who was it? MAGA Man? Who said?
No lib. It's actually
no
pinned. It's actually pinned on the YouTube chat for being the quote of the day. Phil, going forward, if we can do that, pick what we think is the greatest. It's like a who on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you want to do it like that, we'll still do who on Twitter. No lib wins who on YouTube. We can pin it so everybody can see that. That tweet.
Yeah, I think she looks more like Lauren Boebert than Melania, but that's just
she looks exactly like Melania.
But what was the statement?
Oh, that Greg, you look like Melania with that long hair.
That long hair.
Yeah. By the way, my hair is down on my shoulders right now.
Yeah.
I know. Looks
really
great. I love it.
The beard's back too.
Yeah, it's not grown in as full as it did last time, but
well, you got to let it get there.
I know.
As soon as you get there, you just rip it off.
Yep.
What's that about, by the way? Is that an itch, or is that just the wife telling you it's got to go?
No. My wife doesn't. She has no thoughts on it one way or another.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with her.
All right.
By the way, Walmart, some of their shoes are the same designer, like Stuart Weitzman looking shoes. Walmart.
Yeah. Walmart shoes?
Yeah, they're the same. They probably make them in the same factory. The shoes, the clothes,
the same sweatshop factory. Remember when
probably.
Remember when Kathy Lee Gifford was accused of that in the '90s? I believe all of her products were you could purchase them at Walmart. So I think Walmart was part of that as well.
Well,
I tell you what,
Nike. Hello.
We've given a lot of free advertising out this hour. And we're going to get called into the office for the suits.
Speaking of that, we got to pay bills.
Let's do that.
What are you doing?
All right, somebody take it away. We'll come back and we'll get to what's on tap for the Dawn Show and who won Twitter today.
This segment sponsored by Delaware Valley BMW Centers. Now through November 30th during the BMW Road Home Sale. Receive a credit of up to $3,000 on select models like BMW X3 and XC5. Or the X5, excuse me. For details, visit your local Delaware Valley BMW Centers or go to bmwcenters.com, bmwcenters.com, and do it today.
Is the IRS after you? Do you owe them more than you'll ever be able to pay? Are they levying your bank account, garnishing your paycheck? Are you staying up all night worrying they'll take everything you have? Are they bullying you into doing something you know is wrong? If so, you need somebody on your side that's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with them. Somebody that's not afraid to fight them. Somebody experienced in beating them at their own game and helping you. That person is Charles Montesino. He's a certified public accountant and certified tax resolution specialist. He's one of fewer than 200 in the entire country with both designations. He's known as the tax problem solver because he solves tax problems. The IRS is the biggest collection agency in the world. They don't always play fair. You need to even the playing field. Stop being bullied and get help from a professional that knows how to beat them. Call 609-970-4634. That's 609-970-4634. He's the taxpayer's advocate. He works for you. That's 609-970-4634.
We know you're excited because Eagles football is back. With the free Odyssey app, you can jump back and listen to the moments that matter, even if you missed it live. Hear Marks and Reese break down the offense, or listen to Nick Sirianni's interview with the 94 WIP Morning Show.
Yeah, I've been in a game where we scored a touchdown, and I'm fist pumping with the fans. I don't think I've done that since I played college football.
Stay close to the Eagles wherever you are this season. Download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
Bradford White water heaters have always been built to be the best, loaded with innovative features that separate them from the rest. And now, Bradford White tank-style water heaters give you additional peace of mind with microban antimicrobial protection. How you heat your water matters, so don't settle for anything less than the proven performance of a Bradford White, the only water heaters with microban antimicrobial technology. Visit BradfordWhite.com to learn more and to find an installation pro near you.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Philadelphia will be electing its 100th mayor this election day. An exonerated member of the Central Park Five is poised to win a seat on the New York City Council. A UN official says the average Palestinian in Gaza is living on 2 pieces of bread a day. Gaza's health ministry says over 10,000 people in Gaza have been killed since October 7th.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
You got to join me next spring as we discover the wonderful sights in southern Italy with my friends from Conservative Tours. It's going to be awesome. Don't miss out. Just picture yourself savoring the sunset beyond the Isle of Capri. I'm talking about the Amalfi Coast, Positano, Sorrento, Capri. $52.67. That includes your airfare nonstop while these supplies last. Olive oil production, a mozzarella farm, wineries, tasting sessions galore. The group dining events they're known for are legendary. The Abbey of Monte Cassino, Pompeii, of course, all the ancient great sites in Rome as well, all while enjoying a gastronomical event for 12 lovely days of touring. So yes, you can go to conservativetours.com. You'll see my picture there. Scroll down, look at the itinerary. Sorrento, Italy's best kept secret, Puglia, charming villages, unparalleled cuisine, delicious. And we'll find out together why so many Italians take their vacations in Puglia. That's where the locals go because it's picturesque, unspoiled, authentically Italian. So conservativetours.com. Yes, my husband Larry Menti, Michael, David, my sons. Trip of a lifetime for us. Won't you join us? You can call toll-free 888-733-9494, conservativetours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Listen on your schedule. Anytime. Just go to 1210 WPHT on the Odyssey app and search the Kayal and Company podcasts.
I come in last night about 10:30. That baby of mine wouldn't let me in. So move it on over. Rock it on over.
Kayal and Company, 9:52, live here on a Tuesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We will find out who won Twitter and YouTube today in just a moment, as well as what's on tap for the Dawn Show, which is just 8 minutes out. But before we find out what Dawn has planned, Maureen in Wynwood has some support for Dawn on the last topic of conversation. Maureen, good morning. How are you?
Hey. I'm very good. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Dawn. Thanks for taking my call. I have to say, my husband and I raised two boys. They're grown and married now, but I completely agree with everything Dawn said. Everything. And I know, emotions can be really high. You're pumped up full of adrenaline. You have some kind of response to it. Whether you want to cry is neither here nor there. It just comes out. And I also believe that it comes out somewhere else. So either you let it out then or a little bit after, or you go out and, drink yourself into oblivion or crash your car or who knows what.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to crash your car, but drinking yourself into oblivion is not a bad second alternative, I must say, from firsthand experience. Actually, you know what? That was such a strong, convincing case by Maureen. I agree with Dawn.
Oh,
after further review, I'm going to end the day on a high note.
You change your opinions too quickly.
I'm like John Kerry. I will flip and flop.
Stand by your convictions, damn it.
Yep. Speaking of standing by.
Wait, Barbara on YouTube, on the YouTube chat writes, Greg looks like a typical Walmart customer with that hair. See, I love when people take shots at me.
You do. You read them all the time.
I do, of course.
All right. I stand by Dawn Stensland, and I know Dawn is standing by with what she has lined up 6 minutes out.
Yeah, it's election day. There's a whole lot going on locally, nationally. The Trump case, we have all of that coming up. And as well, how do those Hamas terrorists, especially the leaders, really live? So we'll talk about the billionaires that lead Hamas and where the money from all the fundraisers may be going. But coming up at 10:05, after we do all the local updates of everything happening, Linda Kearns joins us talking about working the polls, the voting experience in Pennsylvania, and how does the state select poll workers. So kind of some insights into the polls, politicking, fair elections. So Linda Kearns, who's an election law attorney, she will join us, and she's the master at this. 10:30, we're going to check in with Sergeant Mark Fuzzetti at a poll as a check-in with him. And then coming up at 11, we have the president and CEO, the chief executive officer for the Commonwealth Foundation. This is Charles Mitchell. Grew up in the Philadelphia burbs, and he'll be talking to us about the very latest events, Shapiro, the state of educational reform in Pennsylvania, and broken promises by Governor Josh Shapiro, unfortunately.
Okay, very good. Election law attorney. I would imagine that field of law has got a lot of demand these days. Yeah. So for Linda Kearns, nice work. All right, 9:54 as we find out who won Twitter.
Who won Twitter?
Brian Pfeiffer wins Twitter. Nick read this earlier, but it's a great tweet. He says Walmart is to Target as 7-Eleven is to Wawa.
Yeah.
Disagree.
Also, Bix on the YouTube chat writes, I go to Walmart for the scooter races. That's right. They have those scooters where all the obese people who can't get through aisles
are terrible.
It's true.
You are terrible. I love Walmart. They have good meat prices. They have good everything. TVs.
What did we do this hour? We talked about Walmart, Acme, and Caleb Williams crying.
Mommy.
Yeah.
Probably our highest rated hour. That's the way it usually works. All right, that'll do it for us on this Tuesday. Get out and vote. Don't vote. I don't care. Do whatever you want. We're back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Dawn Stensland is next, and as Corinne Jean-Pierre would say,
I'll see you tomorrow. Come talk to me.
It was the day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value.
But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610